Great to see everyone here. I'm sorry. Thank you, Mr. City Manager. Great to see everyone here, and I hope we get a lot accomplished tonight. And we've got a long agenda, so we're going to start with it. We have an invitation by Pastor Barry and Ms. Lynette Parker, U.S. Army retired, to lead us in the stage of the flag. Pastor Barry.
Heavenly Father, my Father and my God, I want to thank you for creating us and giving us life. I want to thank you for giving us the ability to reason and to think, and to even be able to meet here tonight as a city. And Lord, we need wisdom. I need wisdom. We all need wisdom. The scripture is clear that if any of us lack wisdom, we just need to ask. And so, Lord, on purpose tonight, humbly before you, I ask you for your wisdom. We need it, Lord. And Lord, tonight we need your strength, your power. We need your favor. We need your grace. And again, scripture is clear. That if we humble ourselves before you, that you love to pour your grace upon us. So, Lord, I need your grace tonight. Lord, I humble myself before you. I pray that we all in this room would humble ourselves before you, the Almighty God. Pray, Lord, that we would submit to you, and that you would cleanse our hands and purify our hearts. And Lord, I pray that we would know you, the only true God, and Jesus Christ whom you have sent. I thank you for sending Jesus Christ to be the Savior, to pay the penalty for our sins. And so, Lord, we come to you for help tonight. We ask you, we plead for your favor. And I pray that your Spirit would guide us, and that you would help us with our hearts, with our words, with our actions, with our motivation, that we would honor and exalt your name tonight. In Jesus' name I pray these words. Amen. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Campbell, before you leave, Ms. Campbell, can you approach the podium, please? Ms. Campbell. Parker. I mean, Ms. Parker, I'm sorry. Ms. Parker. Would you please tell us a little about your military career?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Annette Park. I'm a retired Lieutenant Colonel, United States Army, 28 years of service. Thank you. I'm a Gulf War veteran, and it was indeed an honor and a privilege to be able to lead the pledge this evening. So thank you.
Presentation. Mr. City Manager, I'll let you introduce our new employees, if you would.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We're quite privileged that we were, throughout our recruiting process, able to identify competence, quality, and high caliber. We welcome tonight Ms. Chris Randall. She's standing over there. She joined us a little 2 weeks ago as our new Director of HR and already has hit the ground running. We are quite excited about having her as a part of the team and the high level of leadership that she brings, as well as her professionalism. Her bio has been circulated in a press release, so I won't begrudge that, but welcome down south. From being a Yankee and from the north, she transitions down here from Illinois. Welcome, Chris. And continuing, we were also fortunate to secure locally, and I say locally because she was a part of the Metro system, but she also is a Hampton resident. Would you please welcome tonight Ms. Melissa Brooks. Melissa comes to us as our city clerk with 28 years of government experience at the same city, her former College Park. I'm very thankful to your mayor and to your council persons and to all of the citizens of College Park who released you to be a blessing to us here in Hampton. Her commute no longer is 30 to 45 minutes, it's less than 5 minutes, right down the road. Welcome, Melissa.
Okay, moving on. Approval of minutes, September the 11th, 2018. Need a motion to approve or disapprove the minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Okay. Mr. Mitchell, did you vote? Okay, all in favor. Passed 6-0. We have no invited guests. We have some special guests. We'll start with the Hampton Youth Council swearing-in ceremony. Our Solicitor General, Clark, and Mayor Pro Tem, I'll let you announce who these young ladies are.
At this time, we're going to have Hunter Harper of Hampton High School, 12th grade, come forward. We also are going to have Ivan O'Vera, the 12th grader from Hampton High as well. Jessica Barr, 12th grade. Tania Terry, 12th grade. Leah Barton, 11th grade. Caleb C. Pepper, 9th grade. We're missing one of our students this evening. They couldn't make it, Alasia Robinson. At this time, we're going to ask that Ms. Clark will come forth and give them.
Thank you so much. It is a pleasure to be before all of you all today, and I'm excited about the new members that we're swearing in tonight. So I would kindly ask you all to raise your right hand, please. I, and please state your name.
I, Hunter Harper,
Do affirm
that
I desire to be a member of the Hampton Youth Council.
of the Hampton Youth Council,
That I will honestly and faithfully perform the duties assigned to me.
perform the duties assigned to me,
That I will at all times
that I will at all times
abide by and conform
abide by and conform
to the rules which govern
to the rules which govern
youth council members,
youth council members,
and that I will be a good role model
and that I will be a good role model
for all youth
for all you
in the Hampton Youth Council
in the Hampton Youth Council
and community.
and community.
Ladies and gentlemen, I proudly present the newly sworn in members of the Hampton Youth Council.
Moving on now, we've got a proclamation honoring the American Basketball Association of Atlanta Wildcats. Will the representatives please come forward?
In honor of the American Basketball Association and the Atlanta Wildcats, whereas Dr. James Nesbitt invented basketball a century ago, he could not have envisioned what would have become of a simple game he has devised to entertain his students between the fall football season and the spring baseball season. Today, the unique game of basketball is one of the most fast-paced and most widely popular team sports in the world. And whereas the city of Hampton wishes to recognize and pay tribute to a certain group of talented student athletes, and whereas the Atlanta Wildcats and the Central Georgia Rutlanders is a competitive professional men's basketball team, providing opportunities for players throughout Georgia, and whereas the Atlanta Wildcats and the Central Georgia Rutlanders ABA basketball program perpetuates change, growth, and expansion. The program is established organization in Atlanta and Macon, Georgia, and emphasizes the development of skill and talent and athleticism, spirituality, and career. And whereas the Atlanta Wildcats and the Central Georgia Rutlanders strive to be a premier sports team in the Fulton County region. This is the first professional basketball team in this region and is enfranchised privately by the ABA organization and the LLC company. Now therefore I, Steve Hutchinson, by the virtue of the authority vested in me as the mayor of the city of Hampton, do hereby proclaim that today, October 9th, 2018, as Atlanta Wildcats and Central Georgia Rattlers Day in the city of Hampton, Georgia, and encourage all citizens of the city of Hampton, Georgia to join me in celebrating the accomplishments and success of these teams. And witness therefore I, hereon do set my hand and cause the seal of the city of Hampton, Georgia to be asphyxiated on the 9th day of October, 2018.
Good evening. My name is Tracy Hightower, and I'm the COO of the Atlanta Wildcats. We have two professional men's basketball teams, one that's in the Atlanta area and the other one is in the Macon, Georgia area. We not only do basketball for adults, we do for children as well. We have dance teams. We are a family. We believe in families first. So we hope that you all will get behind us, come out to our games and support us. Thank you.
My name is Mr. Williams. I'm the owner of the Lighthouse and Community Athletics. We went out and located the Wildcats and others and brought them to Hampton. We realized that we cannot wait for everybody to take care of whatever issues that we have here. So we got to go out and find it. We went out and found it. This past weekend, they did the Bear Creek Festival. They came out and trained 29 kids of our communities and abroad for free. If any of you have taken your kid to a camp, it costs money to do a camp. But they did the camp from 9 o'clock to 3:45 that afternoon. 10 personnel came out. It was a fantastic event. It was a great opportunity. Some of you saw us out there, and again, we were looking at for us, what can we do next? We need your help in order to continue this. We really, it's, bringing them from Atlanta, that's 35 miles that way. Bringing them from Macon, that's 40 miles from that way. That's a long trip for them to be traveling to come and try to help us. We try and look and figure out how can we help them also. This gentleman here, I met him and he is, just on wheel. So I'm gonna turn it over to him for a moment, talk about the Wildcat Community.
And one thing, as coach and Tracy, which is CEO of the Atlanta Wildcats, it's a great honor to be a part of the organization. As a veteran player, just like Coach A.W., I call him Coach A.W., I know him as Alpha Realm, but we call him Coach A.W. But to be able to basically to go out and work with kids, to give them knowledge. I've been playing the game since 2005 as a professional. Played at the University of Memphis, and whoever's the Wildcat fan, that's my old coach, John Calipari. Y'all may know him on TV. But I played under John Calipari back in 2000, 2001. But to be able to go out and give that knowledge to kids and show them the passion, the love of the game, and the skill set. And one of the biggest things just from a young athlete, and I know I was playing, it kept me off the street, it kept me focused on grades. It allowed me the opportunity to not only just play basketball, but to see the world. I've been to places such as Spain, China, Dominican Republic, and those places I would never have the opportunity to see. Got an opportunity to meet great people and learn a lot about other coaches. So it's just not about the sport, not about just playing, it's also about education too as well. I know without the sport, without the game, I wasn't a great student, but I strived to keep my GPA up because I wanted to play. And I know my parents were like, hey, if your GPA goes below this, you're not playing. So that allowed me to go in and focus on my work, to really, nail down and focus on what the teachers have to say and be that good student. Because I tell kids all the time, it's not just about being an athlete, it's about being a student first and an athlete second. And then once you get to a level where you can make money, now you're a professional first and you're an athlete second. So we try to keep that in the perspective of what we do just with our organization, Pro Ball Nation. They took me in the summer. So I'm like one of their big kids, big brother over the rest of the guys, younger guys that are playing. And I try to take my experience and also give them some guidance in life too as well. So most definitely come out and watch us play. First game is November 4th. So we're excited to bring some exciting basketball down to the city. We are going to be playing at Eagles Landing High School, so it's going to be in Henry County. So most definitely come out and check us out. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Moving on, we have a proclamation in honor of the National Colonial Heritage Month. Mary Ellen English, are you here?
It's all right. I've always
In honor of the National Colonial Heritage Month, whereas the Thomas Wingfield chapter of the National Society Colonial Dames 17th Century is locally sponsoring the National Colonial Heritage Month during the month of October 2018. And whereas the National Colonial Heritage Month brings to mind the first courageous settlers who arrived in America and who determined the direction and the formation of our country, and whereas the members of this society, by virtue and by their lineage of descent from those earlier arrivals, feel an obligation to work in preservation of the priceless legacy that these earlier arrivals left to all American citizens, and whereas they continue to convey the true meaning of the inheritance by reminding us that our privilege to live in a free country has stemmed from our loving our country, obeying its laws and respecting its flag, and defending it against all enemies. Now therefore I, Steve Hutchinson, by the virtue and the authority invested into me, as the mayor of the city of Hampton, do hereby proclaim the month of October 2018 as National Colonial Heritage Month in the city of Hampton, Georgia, and encourage all citizens of the city of Hampton, Georgia, to observe this month as a means of reinforcing the priceless legacy that we inherit with our citizenship. in order to help preserve our rich culture and heritage with deep respect for the principles upon which our great country was founded. As witness whereof, here unto set my hand and cause the seal of the city of Hampton, Georgia to be asphyxiated on this 9th day of October 2018.
One day he'll learn my name. That was the name I was born with. The Colonial Dames are a society of women who can trace their heritage all the way back to the 17th century. And we are direct descendants, so we celebrate those ancestors who sacrificed their lives and fortunes so that we can meet here tonight together. And everything that we do in this country is a result of sacrifice. And so we are bound to honor those who came before us to give us these opportunities. Thank you.
There's one other special guest in the building. My city manager just reminded me of, some elected official. Karen, would you please stand? And who's the other elected official? If there's an elected official, please stand. Oh, there you are. Yeah, from McDonough. Okay, come to the podium and tell us a little about yourself real quick, and if there's any updates on the state level.
I'm Karen Matiak, and I represent you at the state level in the Georgia General Assembly in the House. Today, I was up there working on some, there was a committee meeting for elderly and how we're going to fund and take care of some of our elder problems. A month ago, we talked about developmental disabilities. So that's what I'm working on right now at the state level. Right now, Mr. Mayor, everybody's just running their campaigns. So, and we know that everybody's interested in making sure they get their vote out. Tonight at midnight is the end of registration, so if you're not registered, you have till midnight. And that's it. I'm here to represent you. Commissioner Brown kind of called me out and wanted to know where I've been. He said, "You've been gone for a minute." I didn't realize it, and I apologize. So my door's always open. If you don't have my phone number, see me after this, and I'll make sure that I give it to you. Thank you.
Good evening. I am Councilperson Cam Bonner, District 4 for the City of McDonough, the sister city of Hampton. I now also serve as Mayor Pro Tem for the City of McDonough, and I'm the founder of the McDonough Youth Advisory Council. So I was ecstatic this evening to come to share what's happening at Victorian, their phenomenal youth council. Welcome aboard. We look forward to working with you all in the near future. And you guys, I'm sure you guys will do a phenomenal job here in the City of Hampton. So thank you very much, and I look forward to this wonderful meeting this evening.
Okay, moving on, presentation, the Georgia Municipal Association Fall Training, Councilmember Elton Brown, Mr. Mitchell, and Mr. Willie Turner. I'll give y'all a couple of minutes. Who'll speak first?
I'll speak first, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, everyone. Just wanted to give a little feedback on the training that we did on about 2 weeks ago up in Bracktown, Georgia. I sat in and attended a class called Workforce Development, and I also did a class on finance, the second phase of finance. Both were exceptional classes. Learned a great deal of information. Learned what right looks like. Some of the highlights that I learned from the workforce development course is that when it comes to human resources and you have questions and concerns about employees, you should always refer to your HR person. Keep your city out of trouble. You should always be supportive for all your HR events, because HR isn't just for the employees here, HR is also for the community. Training and development is vital. Be open and decisive. Look for and ask for educational staff, diversity staff in your community, because those are very important. In addition to that, we had our own Mr. Coney teach a course on community workforce development during that session. Was very well received, a wealth of knowledge. I have my brochure here, and if anybody'd like to take a look at it, I'm going to share. He had a good session afterwards, question and answer session with the panel. Everyone that was in attendance was hungry for more information. We had a couple of cities that were represented there that have a similar program. For example, Valdosta, who has a recycling department, and through their workforce development with the youth that weren't necessarily college material, they trained them up in their recycling program, and now their recycling program is completely run by students through that program. And it's very beneficial to the city, and it's a nice revenue source for that city. So, you know, with that, we need to be aware of our children and what their abilities and strengths and weaknesses are, and there's always something out there for everyone. We also had a person that came from the Georgia Technical Colleges, that represents Georgia Tech Colleges. We have Southern Crescent right down the street here, and from what I understand, there is money available for anyone to go to school and learn a trade. So if you have a child, or you know a child or a young person that's laying around the house not doing anything, I have a point of contact. I'll be glad to share it with you, and I'm very comfortable that this person will get you headed in the right direction to maybe get that person gainfully employed or gainfully trained. We got to own our own pipeline, and our youth is our own pipeline. That's all I have.
Hello, everyone. My name is Willie Sherman. I attended the class last week, conflict of resolution, and I learned a lot from the class. Matter of fact, some of it coming and handing out. But I advise every council member, not only here, but in the county. It's a very interesting class. It teaches you a lot, compromising and how to deal with your other council members, talk to each other, and the community and everything else. And then we can reach one common goal. The other class was DDA. Learned something about that, how to set up and need their own attorney and all that stuff. But I'll talk to them about that later. But that's about it. I'm not going to take much of your time. Thank you.
Mr. Mitchell?
Good afternoon. Well, as well as Mr. Turner, as I've done for conflict resolution, what we learn in this class is to emphasize techniques to successful resolving conflict through various mediums, and emphasizing place to identify the source of conflict through personal style and parties involved. One thing that I found that I thought I was a forceful person, but I guess I was not. Based on the experiment we did, I'm more listening, person to listen to. So, well, maybe that's true or not, but probably is. Second one is finance too. What I class emphasize on importance of establishing sound financial policy and provide a better understanding of how to read and understand city financial statement. That's very important to me. You know, I like some financial statements in government. some people call me chief, but, Poodle, yes I am, but I think that, have a, strong financial statement is good.
Okay, thank you. Moving on, mine is the ARC, the RLI class of 2018, the best class ever in the state of Georgia. We had a phenomenal week. Go ahead and get ready, the growth is coming. By the year 2040, you can take the population of Charlotte, North Carolina, and put them in downtown Atlanta and the surrounding 10-county area. That's 2.5 million people living here. Henry County, we we're right about 228,000 now, should be right at 2040, 351,000 people. We talked about transportation, we talked about jobs, we talked about education. I heard somebody talk about technical college on the other end, Mr. Brown. Everybody is not going to go to college, but the main job right now, if you're a plumber, a welder, or anything professional, you can write your own ticket, make $100,000 a year. It's just unbelievable the career fields that are open. I encourage you to get all the education you can. Go to school. If you want to go to tech school, college, whatever you want to do. But the growth is coming, and we have to prepare for it. Thank you. Okay. Moving on, committee update. The City of Hampton Youth Council, Mayor Pro Tem Tarpley.
Good evening. I just wanted to give an update in regards to our youth council. As you saw tonight, we did our swearing-in ceremony. We thank you, Ms. Clark, for coming and swearing in our young people. We have a 7-panel youth council, and we are excited about the inaugural year for this year. We've already did our parental orientation and our youth orientation. We were thankful to be welcomed at Hampton High School. The principal, Mr. Gore, has welcomed us he's asked if we want to have meetings there, if there's anything that they can assist us with, and there is a full buy-in at the Hampton High School. So we are excited about that. We also are excited about the parents that have committed their children to the endeavor of seeing about what it is that our young people would like to see in the city of Hampton. We have the pamphlet here. If anybody would like one, we definitely can get you one, but it's the pamphlet that gives you their honor code, their charter is in here, and it was their orientation package. On the back of it, it has their schedule that we're looking to implement and to do these things. We are hoping that we're able to do everything that is on this list. Of course, they will also be choosing their mayor and the different officers in the organization in the near future, so we're looking forward to that. I think they're vying for positions at this time. I also wanted to give an update. As everybody know, we had ambassadors and speakers that came in at the beginning of this year, and it kind of got attached to our youth council, and I am super excited that it did. I will tell you, we went to the intergovernmental retreat, and at the intergovernmental retreat, as I sat at the table with our city manager, Mr. Coney, every city that was there came to the table and said, how can we get that in our city? Every one of them wanted to know how they could bring that into their community and give their children an opportunity to go to an international level and see how other governments work. So we're very proud of that. I will tell you, in regards to that, I did receive, we are looking for some reimbursements from the AIS program, from the German consulate, and we began to do the reconciliation on those, and we're hoping that in the near future, pretty near future, that we will have all of that complete, and they will reimburse us. Just like with our FEMA training that we had, we waited on the government to send us our money back, and now we're waiting on the German consulate, and they've assured us, we have assurance that they will send us the money that we put into the program. So thank all of you for participating, for supporting these young people, encouraging them to be great and to be the best person that they can be, and affording them the opportunity to do some phenomenal things not just here in the city of Hampton, but they are going to be our representatives throughout the world, and we want them to put their best foot forward. So thank you so very much.
Okay, moving on for the public comment section, I have some things to say first. We're gonna limit this to 15 minutes. So if you're interested, there are 3 people already on the agenda to speak, and if you're interested in making public comments at this time, please line up for me so I'll know how many people are gonna make public comments. Sergeant King, is there anybody out in the hall that wants to make public comments?
Anyone out here? Anyone wants to make a comment?
Thank you for taking
How many total do I have? We have 3 on the.
Standing mayor with the option to extend. Is Ms. D getting in line?
Miss D, are you getting in line?
No, I'm going to ladies and
Okay, we're gonna, 10, how many? 8. Okay. Ms. City Clerk, do you have the time clock?
No.
I have it, but I am happy to.
You pass it over. Will you pass it over to our new city clerk?
I certainly can.
You got 1.5 minutes per person. Okay? So make it quick, please, because we have such a long agenda. Mr. King, you're up first, sir.
Okay, I'll try to make it quick.
And Mr. Mayor, may I also add that there are persons that have driven all the way up here. They've driven way more than 1 minute to speak to you and to this council. I would hope that this council will be respectful of those things as well.
With our agenda, I'm gonna keep it at 1.5 minutes.
Okay, well, I am here basically, I'm an attorney from Albany, Georgia, and I represent Mr. Coney. And basically, I'm here with regard to a matter of public concern. It seems like that not only have you breached the contract, but it seems like basically you have violated the charter, which of course under Georgia law is what controls this situation. It seems like you have 2 or 3 I guess amendments. I don't know if y'all are trying to amend the charter or an ordinance or whatever you're trying to do. It's not done legally correct. And I think Mr. Coney has complained that you have violated ordinances and also that you have violated the charter. Therefore, under Georgia law, he is a whistleblower. Because it's clear you do it. I think if you look at some of one of the main things is, I think, as I understand it, this is a city, your charter has a strong city manager and a weak mayor. Under the charter, that's just legally speaking how it is. And under the charter, the mayor can only vote in case of a tie, and I think y'all are trying to change that. There's a Georgia Court of Appeal case that came out, I think last year, that basically said that if you were to pass an ordinance that violates the charter, then it would be null and void, but also it would open the city up to litigation because you would have violated the law. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Hunt? Ms. Hunt? Okay.
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
Good evening.
I'm Sarah Hunt, and I'm here, President and National Field Director for the National Action Network. I bring you greetings from the President and founder, the international acclaimed civil rights leader, and host of MSNBC Politics Nation, Reverend Al Sharpton. Also the chairman of the board, Reverend Franklin Richardson, and my immediate supervisor, Reverend David Toon, who is the National Field Officer, and I am a staff member of the National Field Office. I was contacted by a young man that was hired here as a worker, and then he was fired by the mayor, which according to your charter seems to be out of order. I would like to say to the city of Hampton, citizens, this is your government, and it's your responsibility to see that things are done properly and in order. You have a right to demand that the charter is followed to the T. You have a right to demand that all finances of this body be available to you, that you can inspect them whenever you get ready. You should be able to ask for an open records request on whatever is going on in this government. It's time for, it happened in several cities that we've been in. Right now, we worked in Macon-Bibb County, and we brought a lot of things into perspective that have been out of perspective. And I want to say to you, we are watching what is going on in Hampton. And we are going to be in the eyes, you're in the eyes and ears of the public because you're in the news. And we have the citizens back. It's not a black issue, it's not a white issue, it's a green issue that's going on now.
Thank you, ma'am.
And everything that's happening in these cities is about money. And if you watch at the bottom line, you see that money is being misspent.
Mr. Alfred Williams.
City Council, citizens of Hampton, is Alfred.
Would you raise your mic up a little?
City of Hampton, citizens of Hampton, my name is Major Alfred Williams, retired. I'm coming here to you as, I look at things in a different perspective. I look at what ifs, to make sure that we know what's going on. One of the things I'm concerned about is when it goes to ethics. On last weekend, on the 29th, I read an article on Saturday morning while I was doing an event. That article just really hit me to a point where I'm saying, why is this article and this information in the public's eye if it's dealing with human resource matters? It should never left whoever turned that information in. That information should went to executive session or behind closed doors. Never give that information to the public. You're opening us up to litigation. This is ethical. The other portion is as I read through it, it gave time and point, and none of the information that's in that article has been verified. Human resources have their job to do. Their job is to verify everybody's past before that information goes anywhere. The police department has a job to do, to make sure that anybody who has any criminal activity in their past, you know about it. If that did not happen, we're looking at that. Last thing to say, the last statement in the last article just came out this morning. It said, we cannot make comments on things that deal with human resources. That should have been the same standard applied to the other gentlemen that we're applying now.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Please give your name and address, please.
Mary Ann Mitchum, 3 Shelby Street. Before I begin, I would like to thank those of you that have spoken into your microphones and those of you that still refuse to. Please do, because some of us don't hear that well. Ladies and gentlemen, judges, school board members, city councils, and mayors are elected in non-partisan races. Why do you suppose that is? I think it's to prevent what might be viewed as a mob rule. Non-partisan election leaves a candidate unfettered without loyalty to any particular group. He or she is free to serve all of the people equally. You know, sometimes lately I felt like I fell right down a rabbit hole. I've witnessed an unprecedented polarization in our fair city. I sincerely respect the office that every one of you hold, but I am going to right now address the elephant in the room. Our city has been divided politically and racially. I said it. Racially. This has to end. Never in my 24 years in public office have I experienced such a division. We, all of us, need to heal this rift. How are we going to do it? Shoulder chips need to be removed. Open and honest dialogue needs to occur. And hidden and personal agendas need to be discarded.
Thank
We
you.
work together,
Thank you.
or we crash and burn separately.
Thank you.
Branch 1 West Main Street. I felt like I needed to, come up and just mention something that I strongly agree with. This is not my personality, so bear with me. I recently found out that all the director's jobs in the city of Hampton were posted, and that those directors were then told that they were allowed to reapply for their job if they felt like they should. Anyway, I feel like that is, even though it may be legal, I feel like that is unethical. It's not ethical. I don't think anybody in this room would appreciate going to work and find out that your job has been posted, and when you haven't done anything wrong. I feel like it's the manager's job to present their goals and their vision, and then work with who they have, see if they can meet those goals and that vision, and then if they're not able to, then individually work with them, retrain them. They have earned this job. One of the directors has been here 17 years, worked his way up from a city worker, been here 17 years. That allows him to work for the city of Hampton for 17 years, and then came in and found out that his job was posted. I strongly disagree with that. Another person does, Denise McKay. I live right there on West Main Street. I see this lady working over 40 hours every week. She has made Hampton a nicer place to be, a nicer place to come. We used to have the Jazz Festival. This weekend we'll have over 30 musicians coming in, playing on porches around town. Making Hampton somewhere you want to stay and enjoy and be, and to ask her to reapply for her position is just insulting. And
I have to cut you off.
Okay,
Thank you.
sorry. That's all.
Roll 171, Lake Hampton Drive. I'm gonna talk real fast. Deputy Attorney General Jennifer Colangelo, in one official written opinion and one other opinion not yet memorialized, has determined that the procedure used by this council in accepting personnel recommendations from the city manager violates the Open Meetings Act, specifically OCGA 50-14-3B2. I will not read the text of the section as it's long. Basically, it is the opinion of the Attorney General's office that you cannot come out of executive session and merely accept the city manager's recommendations without stating what those recommendations are. In a letter to the attorneys of the Valdosta City Schools in July 2015, Ms. Colangelo wrote, quote, however, the issue here is whether the public is properly informed on matters that are being voted on during the meeting. I do not agree that voting to accept the superintendent's recommendation complies with this act. End quote. An informal ruling soon to be memorialized in response to a formal complaint. Ms. Colangelo, after being asked if it was permissible to do this, responded, quote, no, it is not. The OMA doesn't say that explicitly, but being, quote, open to the public, end quote, means that the public should be able to know what's being voted on. A few years ago, there was a school district doing exactly what you described, and I wrote them a letter telling them to cut it out, and they did. This concerned the Evans County School Board. Bottom line, the public has a right to know, and it's time to end this cloak and dagger and secrecy stuff. Please take note and change your procedures, and I'll save the rest for another time.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Oliver?
Esma Oliver, 20 College Street. I want to piggyback on what Mr. Williams was talking about, personnel matters being made public. I feel it was a personal offense to me, because so many times I've asked about certain things here, personnel matters, and everybody says that cannot be discussed with the public, the residents.
the participants in these meetings. And there's an ordinance, and you cannot break that. And then in the paper, a city council person has gone to the media and discussed and revealed all of the information about a former employee and why they were let go. And it's ridiculous. I do not understand how that can be tolerated. And to me, it's personal, because so many times I have not been able to get any information about things quite often that I think the public should be aware of. But then an official can go to the newspaper and divulge information about personnel, and that's it. That's all there is. Is anything going to be done about that? Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
There are many topics of interest tonight. Here are just a few. Long-term employees leaving, very short-term employees leaving, the cost associated with those, existing directors that must reapply for their positions, the legitimate need for additional directors, the hundreds of thousands of payroll dollars to be added to annual budgets for the additional directors, for any positions created to support them, and for any salary increase that may result from managing additional directors. Negative impacts on employee morale. The recommendation for approval of a proposed ordinance to expand the penalties for ethics violations to include imprisonment. Only 1 of 4 quarterly budget reviews for fiscal 2018 was done. Overspending in 2018 that was not properly accounted for. The fiscal 2019 budget was not submitted on time. Still has not been submitted, now 9 days late. A Freedom of Information Act request regarding credit card spending was not fulfilled before the deadline. These topics are serious issues for our city. When serious issues arise, it is wise to look for their root cause. Is there any common factor in their root cause? This would be good to know. Take these and other issues seriously. Be diligent and sincere in identifying the root cause. Fulfill your sworn oath to uphold our city's charter. Do not prolong this. Hampton deserves better.
Linda Dodgen, 16 Shelby Street. Good evening, Mayor, Council, citizens, special guests. My parents brought me here, along with siblings, to Hampton in 1957. I'm not going to tell my age, though. We all attended the Methodist Preschool Church, Henry County Public Schools. My husband and I were married here in 1976. I have always felt that helping out in the city when we could. We have volunteered for many committees and events to help make this town the best little town. We have attended council meetings and other meetings for over 20 years. For the most part, we have been satisfied the way our city has been run and how our tax dollars have been spent. But lately, I can't say that. At the last council meeting, a citizen stood up during public comment and asked a very important question about some spending of tax dollars. She was told, y'all, meaning mayor and council, was not there to answer questions. I beg the difference. Unless any of you have forgotten, figuratively speaking, we are your bosses. We pay your salary.
Yep.
Yeah. We can hire you, we can fire you at the voting booth. So I ask that you look at the way the city's going and work together to make some changes, because the recent changes have not worked. Thank you for your time.
Good afternoon, my name is Dexter Clatt, I live at 215 Creekside Circle. This is the largest crowd that I've probably seen in the last 12 years, that's a good thing. When I seen the agenda on Saturday, probably like a lot of the visitors here, I was concerned. I realized that we have some issues going on with our city. We have 8,000 residents that are counting on you to lead the city forward. And in order for that to happen, not only you, we as a community have to find an effective way to deal with conflict. And I've learned that there are 5 powerful words, and that is, I'm sorry. Will you forgive me? I mean, you can have 24 years with my wife and it still works. Even when I know I'm right. So, you know, if you look behind you, it said pride and pride. To live that, we got to find an effective way to deal with conflict. I think we all want the best thing for our city, but you know we have to reach out to Bill and find a more effective way to deal with one another. The way I deal with Mr. Mitchell may not work with the mayor, but I think it's time to continue. We all can do better. Thank you.
Pamela Duchesne, 136 Madison Drive, fellow council, mayor. I'm only here to express a concern. A few Saturdays ago, there was a ribbon cutting ceremony for one of our residents, the young lady, Mrs. King, where many volunteers from not the city came to help, and I was very disappointed. I was there for the ribbon cutting, but you weren't there, Mr. Mayor. It was sorely noted that you weren't there, and I don't think that was a good representation for someone who's supposed to be leading our city with our residents. That's all I have to say.
Mr. Mayor, before we go forward, I'd like to make a point of personal privilege.
Go ahead.
First of all, I'd like to say I agree with every person that came up here and spoke today. I applaud your tenacity. I applaud your willingness to stand up and speak your mind. I felt that everybody spoke from their heart, and I'm convinced that we are a much better city than we are showing. We have a lot more. We can do a lot better. So I'd like to take a moment to read a document that I prepared because I gave us a lot of hard thinking, and I want to put it all out there for you all to understand. First of all, I don't condone the unprofessional and unethical behavior that you'll be seeing demonstrated this evening from the mayor and selected council members. I also do not take any part in a personal attack against our city manager. We have a habit and a bad habit here in the city of taking whatever is true or whatever is heard in the gossip line and twisting it to suit your own needs. And we jump to conclusion not knowing what all the facts are. And I'm with you. I agree that there should be transparency and openness and honesty in our government, and we don't have that. We do have people in our government that are taking these things personal. We do have people that are doing things that have something to gain, whatever that is, and it's not right. And I'm guilty by association, and I'm ashamed of it. I'm absolutely ashamed of it. But what I would ask is that each one of you in this room, and if you're in the hallway or if you're on the sidewalk and you can hear my voice, take a look in the mirror when you get home. Take a good look in the mirror and search your heart and search your soul and see if you ask yourself, am I doing the absolute best for this city? Go back and look through some of the decisions that were made in this city and see if those decisions were made in the best interest of all people in this city. I hear you talking it, but I don't see you walking it. It's embarrassing, it's insulting, and we know better, and we have better to offer. A few years ago, not so many years ago, an ordinance was changed because a sitting mayor had a desire to terminate a city manager. that mayor felt that that city manager was incompetent. And an ordinance was drafted to stop that mayor from having a tie-breaking vote in voting and terminating the city manager. Here we are, and it's the complete same situation. We're here trying to change ordinances and changing our laws. I don't remember who said it, but we're not even giving people an opportunity to demonstrate what they have to contribute to the city before you want to kick them out the door and chase them down the street. But understand that everybody needs to be treated fairly. If you're going to do for one, you need to do for the other.
Say it again.
Too often, it seems like there is a racial tension and a racial divide in the city. And can no one in this room can tell me what racism is. I was born in Jamaica. Anybody know what Jamaica symbolizes in this country? The hub of slavery. The hub of slavery. You can't tell me anything about racism. I've lived it for 53 years.
All right.
I've endured it for 53 years. And I know when someone's saying something slighted towards me. So don't fool yourself. We all have a little bit in us. But we all have the responsibility to cap that off and know when to bring it up. And do your best to suppress it if your intentions are truly to make this community a better community. Whether you like it or not, McDonough is knocking on our back door. Whether you like it or not, Lovejoy is knocking on our back door. Take a drive on our perimeter of our city and look at all the groundbreaking.
Amen.
We sit here and talk about pride and progress. I'm not very proud of this city, and I definitely don't see any progress. None whatsoever. Everything that this council has brought up has been attacked. And I know one thing that I recognize in coming to this meeting. Before this council was seated, there was a small group of people who seemed to know everything that was going on. And the rest of you were oblivious to what was happening. Nobody had a concern, nobody made a sound, nobody questioned anything going on in the city. And it was run amok. And that's where we are right now. We are the product of a city run amok. No, you don't get that option, ma'am. I have the floor. Mr. Mayor. Thank you, sir. The truth hurts. And they say it hits alcoholic. I have a document that I produced today, and I'm not going to read it verbatim. But what I will do is I will provide the newspaper gentleman a copy of it, and I'm going to provide a copy to the clerk for record of this meeting. And I'm going to let y'all dissect it and do whatever y'all like to do with it. But let me make it clear to every one of you. No one in this room has seen anything that I've seen. I can do this job standing on my head. It's too easy. You guys don't know how good you have it in this country compared to some of the countries I've been through.
Amen.
You guys don't even know how to appreciate someone putting their lives and their family at risk for you to have this freedom to sit here and act like a fool.
Amen.
It's disgusting.
29 years I did.
It's disgusting. We don't even honor our veterans in the city.
Thank you.
No, we don't.
Yes, we do honor our veterans, and you have never been a part of it.
Gentlemen,
That's correct.
I have.
I did 29 years, they ain't doing nothing for me.
I'll wrap it up for you. We had an opportunity to help a disabled veteran in our city, living in deplorable conditions, right here in our city. We drive by that house every day. I thought the thing was abandoned. And we have a veteran living in that house with his wife. Now, we tried, and we had people come into the city and volunteer to do this project. We asked for volunteers of this city, and we had a few that stepped up to the call, and I'm very proud. Nailed heat and air. I'm very proud of them. I left my list at home, but I will also give that to the media so that you can read it in your newspaper. What you will notice in there is that this city did absolutely nothing to help this family in our community. So of the veterans that came out from as far as Thomaston to come here and help every day to recover this house and put this woman back in her home so she can start her grieving process, they're all of the opinion that they will never come back to Hampton to do business. They will never come back to Hampton to help another citizen of Hampton. They're of the opinion when someone tells them, thank you for your service, it's just like the Vietnam vets who came back and people spit in their face. They're disgusted and embarrassed by the city. And I'm with them. So when you guys want to get on your little high horses and think you're better than somebody else,
Point of order, Mr. Mayor, he cannot be addressing citizens'
Okay, we
complaints.
need to move on.
Raise card played out.
thank you. That's right, the red card is
Get a raise card.
Since there's no more business, we'll move directly to new business. Resolution 1820, Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Mr. Tony? You want to enlighten us?
Yes, Mayor. What you have before you is a resolution so that our community and our leadership goes on record as recognizing breast cancer. It is championed by women. However, I will tell you that it is something that is happening to both genders. And so, before you is a resolution. In the interest of time, we're not going to read it, but we strongly recommend that you approve it.
Need a motion to approve or disapprove?
May I make a motion to approve that resolution?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Pass 6-0.
And thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you to everyone for wearing pink for this time.
Thank you, sir. Resolution 1821 to offer in-kind services to the 2018 annual Bear Creek Festival.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, you have a resolution in front of you. Based upon the policy that you submitted and approved last month, we went through and began our first attempt at keeping track of the in-kind. Unfortunately, the Bear Creek Festival fell in that window between then and now, and it has already occurred, but we thought it best to submit it to you so that you have it in writing, and also so that you have a calculation of those in-kind. The report is included in your packet, and we instituted a memorandum of understanding so that we can start to better manage these in-kind of services. So it is recommended for your approval.
A motion to approve or disapprove?
I make a motion to approve 1821.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead.
I want to make a point that, last month, as Mr. Cummings said, we passed a resolution that all of these types of events would go before the council to be voted on and approved. And I understand that I don't know how it should be short notice as this is an annual event, but I also understand that the application for this event wasn't done until the week prior. So already we're not abiding by a policy that we put in place.
Mr. Mayor,
Go ahead.
Ms. Walls, my understanding from communication I had with her was she kept coming to City Hall, she couldn't get a response. If anyone to contact her back, but she had been trying for a long time, was my understanding on this.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Any more discussion?
So I just wanna make sure, Mr. Mayor, that we gave a total of $32,1697 to the Bear Creek in-kind donation.
That is correct. It's on the report, what our city managers have put to the other $3,216.97 of in-kind. Go ahead, Mayor.
One thing I was wanting to ask is, I noticed that there were some things in there that was counted in time that would be normal maintenance. In other words, if they cut the grass, they cut the grass. They got to cut it whether it's an event or not. Fixing the street lights, fixing the lights around the park, that's something that we would do whether they had a Bear Creek Festival or not. I was just wondering if that's some of the money that was figured in that in time.
And in response, no, sir, I had that full discussion with the Public Works as well, so department heads, we looked at this as what extra would have been done. For example, I asked the question, how often do you cut the grass? Once a week. Did you cut it twice that week? No, I cut it once a week. So that was not included. Extra lighting was not included. We did an attempt to make sure that this would have been beyond and outside of. But like I said, this gives you a viewing into the in-kind. So I stand behind the numbers that the department has gave me.
Go ahead.
I just want to say, so this, I'm happy that we are getting this. This is the first time I've ever seen anything like this. With a breakdown of just how much we as a city is contributing to different events around the city that the city does not sponsor, or we're not putting on. We're going outside and helping. We are a part of the Bear Creek, or the Hampton Merchants Association, so understandably that we will participate in it, but I'm happy that we have these numbers so that we can monitor what it is that we're giving it in time. Because when I was looking at the picture, John, the Public Works Director, had to put up like several light things where you would plug in it. So it takes the extra work, and we want the city to know that we're monitoring. We don't want to just be giving away these items without putting a figure to it, because it's important, because time is money, and it costs you guys when we volunteer or the mayor approves or the city manager approves these things to be done. So thank you for giving us this document.
And Mr. Mayor, may I also add that we had an excellent relationship sitting down with the organizers. You can see from the memorandum of understanding, it was a collapsal of all of the information. I responded once you sent the email to me, letting me know that they were out there, and we were happy to provide the service with them in partnership.
Okay, thank you. Any more discussion? Go ahead, Mr. Turner.
I want to add one thing. Ms. Goldie said the lady said she was late when they put in the application. She couldn't reach anyone coming to the city hall.
Yeah, she was coming out numerous times, what she had mentioned.
Okay. But anyway, moving forward, if the deadline is the deadline, and I want everyone to know, if it's not in on time, it's not in on time. No matter what the reason is, because we can come up here all the time and say, I couldn't reach anyone at the city hall. But we don't want to start that. The deadline is the deadline. It's somebody here at all times. So, work it out. So we need to get those applications in on time and meet the deadline.
Any more discussion? All in favor? Pass 6-0. Resolution 1822 to offer in-kind service to Crazy Leg Productions. Mr. Tony?
Mr. Mayor, this is another situation that occurred. I hope that you see that it was our attempt to provide service and to understand your intent by the policy that you put in place. And so, unfortunately, this fell in that window as well, and the Crazy Legs Production want to use our facility. And while there were some things that they did pay for, you will see they paid for their security and they paid a film fee. We were able to calculate their in-kind services as well. And so I ask that you would approve this after the fact.
Thank you. I need a motion to approve or disapprove.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve.
Do I have a second? Any discussion?
Yeah,
Go ahead, Henry.
I really don't understand why we would put money out ourselves for a film company to come in and film in the city, why they're not paying all the bill, and plus we should get the money also for the fee, and not get eaten up by city workers doing work.
Go ahead, Ms. Harper.
I was just saying that, that was my concern with this, especially with it being a, this isn't a nonprofit organization, this is a for-profit organization, and it's a movie company. Unless they got some more money they could give us. You know, so, in the future, and I'm talking to Mr. Tony and the board, I would like to see definitely, and I know that sometimes we have these crunch things, but definitely if we can do better planning in regards to when we're bringing somebody in with, as far as filming, that we would make sure that we're not gonna be on the hook for them to do what they trying to do. Even though we will be featured as a featured city, I think we can get that without paying for it.
Okay. Any more discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Pass 5-1. Resolution 1823 to waive utilities fee for the Calvary Baptist Church. Pastor Barry, would you come on up and tell us what this is all about?
Yes, sir. I have written some things down. You want me to read it?
Whatever you'd like to do, sir.
All right, well, I'll just sum up here for the sake of everybody. Between 1 month, we had 1 million gallons of water that escaped. Not quite sure how it happened. It was underneath the parking lot, about 4.5 feet down is what we found out when we chopped open our parking lot. And is it okay if I announce how much our utility cost was? Or is that okay? So, it was a $10,006 water bill. Our normal water bill is about $40, $50. And so our entire annual budget is less for utilities than this water bill. So I would just, we're asking as a church, I'm just a representative here, for some grace and favor and I ask the council to help us with that huge water bill, knowing of course that somebody has to pay, you know, for the water. So we would like to, you know, do what we need to do. So we are asking for some favor. Thank you.
Mr. Tony?
Mr. Mayor, when this was brought to me, and thank you, Pastor, he came in and saw me, we did the research, I'm data driven, and the main question I asked, has this ever been done before, and I was told yes. And so we went backwards and we found that particular circumstance, and so we used that as a benchmark. You will see in your packet a recommendation from staff with 2 options. You also see the commitment that we have worked with the faith community, and so it is my recommendation that we approve that recommendation and charge them at baseline that which we would be charged in Henry County.
And what would that dollar figure be?
That would be the $3,895.90 as indicated.
Thank you, sir. I need a motion to approve or disapprove. Let's get a motion in a second, then we'll discuss. I need a motion to approve or disapprove.
I make a motion to approve the $3,895.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Brown.
My question was, on that account, Pastor, do you all have that insurance? I know we offer a little, leak insurance or some type of, something like that on our water bill. Do you have leak insurance?
I'm not familiar with that. I don't think so.
We don't have any waterworks people in there that can explain that, right?
Henry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, the leak protection was put in place several years ago. For a business, it's $4 a month that you pay. And if you you would have had that, then somebody would have came out, fixed your leak and paid your water bill. It's something that we offer as a city. The residents can get it for $2 a month, if I'm not mistaken.
That is $50.
Note to the world, this is a free public announcement. Definitely sure.
Go ahead, Henry.
Maybe we can put that in the
Okay.
To residents, I think it's $2 per residential, so $4, so that would be a thing to have.
I had a motion and a second to approve. All in favor of reducing it to $3,895.90? Pass 6-0.
Thank you. Thank you.
1825, resolution 18 to accept barriers donation from the Hampton Downtown Development Authority. Is that yours? Go ahead.
So, during our Downtown Development Authority meeting this month, they have some barriers that is out at their Liberty Square Park, Industrial Park location that they, wanted to donate to the city, and per our, new policy, it needed to come before the council to accept them. I believe, our Public Works Director has been contacted, and he is, in favor of us getting them, because we use them to block off streets whenever somebody is dumping or things of that nature.
Okay. I need a motion to approve or disapprove.
I make a motion that we approve and accept the donation from the Downtown Development Authority.
I'll second that motion.
Any discussion? All in favor? Pass. And
Oh, yes.
6-0. Resolution 1826, Service Delivery Strategy Agreement Deadline Extension. Tony?
Yes, sir. We've been meeting collaboratively with the other cities and with our county manager to talk about the service delivery strategy, and we are recommending from all of the cities as leadership that there be an extension in place so we can make sure that we have a clear negotiation. You will see that we are the last city. I've included for you all the details, the resolutions from the other cities, and everyone has signed off and has passed and accepted our recommendation. It is now in Hampton.
Need a motion to approve or disapprove?
Mr. Mayor, make a motion that we approve the extension for the Service Delivery Strategy Agreement.
Have a second by Mr. Turner. Any discussion? All in favor? Pass 6-0. Resolution 1826, the request for a forensic audit. Is that your? I'm sorry, 27. 1827, the request for a forensic audit.
Yes,
Mr. Brown?
yes, Mr. Mayor. With the, that was one of the things that, I had on my mind when we first took office, and hearing all the rumors going on around about the city going bankrupt and these type things. I think it's very, important at this point in time, with the accusations that have been made, as far as misappropriation of funds and so on, that we do, a forensic audit, one, to account for the money of the city, and two, to identify whether there is any wrongdoing, in that misappropriation of those funds.
Would you like to make a motion to approve or disapprove?
I make a motion to approve it.
I have a second by Mr. Turner. Any discussion? Henry?
I do. There's no dollar amount on this. Do we have any idea what this is gonna cost? Are we gonna get bids, or how we know this is gonna go?
There's no dollar amount on it, but, from what I understand in doing the inquiries on it, the depth and the scope of, such an audit will drive the dollar amount. And that goes with any company that you will find to do a forensic audit. So if you can't really put a cap on it, because that cap might deter you from getting the results that you're looking for. So I don't know, we may be able to do it not to exceed the amount.
Mayor,
Go
if I
ahead.
could add, if you would allow the administration to come back with you, as you've done in many cases before, with a recommendation, we would not jump out and put an audit in place. While this does fall in professional services, I would like to have some type of dialogue with you and come up with a scope document that we therefore can offer out there, so we can make sure that the intent and the spirit of this authorization is honored with the same results.
And then at that time, bring it back before the board?
Most definitely, with a recommendation.
Just a recommendation. Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All in favor? Pass 6-0. Resolution 1828 to approve comprehensive plan update and future land use map. That must be one of the counties here. Come on up.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Yes, that's one of the reasons why the county is here. I do have something important to say, though. We've advertised all of our planning and zoning items for public hearing. So we would respectfully request that you would open these individual items up for public comment.
Okay.
But to just give a little background, we have been working for nearly 2 years collaboratively with the city of Hampton and McDonough and Locust Grove to put together a joint plan, and we've done that, and that's been submitted to the state, and we've received the state's approval. And so the last step is for us to have that public hearing and for the council to adopt that.
Okay.
And we recommend it.
Okay. I'll open it up this time for any public comment.
And Mayor, you might want to ask if anyone's in favor or not in favor of the,
Is anyone in favor, or if you don't want to approve favor, just let me, come on up. Come on up. We'll limit this to, 6 minutes. I'll give you 3 minutes each.
Harvey Road, 171 Lake Hampton Drive. I don't see at this point how anybody in the audience could be in favor or against it, because we have no idea what it is. We don't have that information, we don't know what the plan is, and quite honestly, I'm fairly sure we have no idea which of the 5, 6, 7 different maps that have been shown us over the last few months. So I don't see how we could even possibly have a public hearing. It's always been my understanding that public hearings occur before the council meeting starts. And there's 2 other items on the agenda tonight that require a public hearing also that were not put on the agenda. So I just don't think it's appropriate. Thank you.
Thank you.
Michael Waffle, 1211 Pole Rock Road. I have much to say as Carly did, but considering that the map that was submitted as a part of the agenda tonight, and also there's another issue about adapting the city zoning to correspond to the land use proposal. However, there are several issues where there is a differentiation between the city zoning map and the county land use map. Specifically, the area south of Statewide, Twiggy, north of the Cobblestone development, bounded by King and Floyd to the west and Southampton to the east. The city zone presently is a planned development. However, the county land use is a commercial multi-use designation. Now, the community is definitely opposed to that type of use for that strip of land, because that will possibly completely devoid the area of vegetation, thereby opening up the residential area to the street noise from State Route 20. Therefore, I feel that it should definitely be covered in a public forum, if at all possible. Thank you.
Thank you.
Be quick.
One more. Wait, I got one more comment.
Veronica Atkins, I live on 7 Barham Street. My question is, I thought you said that the state had already gave you the go-ahead. So what are we discussing? Can we tell the state, no, we're not gonna do it?
This is the county. Stacy, I'll let you, if you're finished, ma'am, then.
Yes, I'm
Okay.
finished.
I'll let you respond to that.
Thank you, Mayor. Let me just say that there's definitely a difference between the city's future land use map, which is a policy guide, and the zoning of individual property. And so the gentleman had mentioned that strip of area along Highway 20 between King and Southampton. And that property is indeed zone plan development. And each of the plan developments have what's called a pod map, which is a designation of particular areas that are for particular purposes. And so this strip of land that's along Highway 20 has been designated for non-residential purposes. And this future land use map, which would designate this area for commercial and mixed use, is in keeping with the existing zoning, and that zoning will not change. So this is absolutely consistent with that. As far as the state's approval and so forth, the State Department of Community Affairs basically grades our work, and they want to make sure that we, putting this plan together, that we followed the process that was required as far as the public hearings go, the town hall meetings and so forth, and they have agreed that we have met those requirements. But this is the city's plan, and if there's something that might need to change, it's within the city's purview to do that. But as this plan is, this has received the state's approval for the city to adopt.
Okay, Mr. Williams, you'll be my last comment, please.
Hey, Mr. Williams, I just have one thing about with the county and also with the city. I go to just about every county recreation meeting they have once a month. And we have a lot of retirees in our city. In order to help our councils better, I think some of us, instead of just coming to this one meeting complaining about what we're hearing, we need to get involved with what's going on at the county at their meetings. Because there's a lot of information that goes out, that they put out, that we don't hear it until it's too late. Once it already went to the state, it's pretty much a done deal. But if we, as volunteers, as retirees, who have lots of time on our hands, do all this other research, get involved with what's going on in the county, we will benefit our city a whole lot more than coming up here stumping on this mic.
Thank you, sir. I'm gonna ask a question on city attorney. The public hearing that we just had, will that suffice, or do we need to do something else?
So let's just back up for a minute, Mayor, if we may. Obviously, you know that Henry County serves as our planning and zoning department. Thank you very much. And so they handle the recommendations to this board to finalize, like you have on your agenda, a CUP and a variance that Mr. Jordan will speak on tonight. And so the opportunity for the public hearing can happen twice. The law definitely requires there to be at least one, which I know that Henry County has done. The other thing, though, however, I was just asking Mr. Coney about this council's input in the comprehensive plan and the future land use map. I will have to defer to staff, obviously, because that's who handles these things on a day-to-day basis. But if we're within our guidelines, I think it's between 15 and 60 days, Mr. Jordan, about making the approval on this. If you want more time, provided you hadn't had that, I think we're free to do that. If we need to have a special call to bring it back, and you want to have more input from the public, provided they have not seen this and were not involved on the county level, I think that's advisable.
Mr. Coney, the staff recommended, have y'all seen this, or Denise? Is it, have you, come on up front for this minute. Can you? sort of give us an update on what this is all about?
We've been working on this for 2 years. We've held a series of public meetings throughout, over here, we had 3 on the Hampton, I believe. And then some at the county where we solicited input for the comprehensive plan update. We had some very low turnout. All the meetings have been advertised. We had good turnout. But it has been a process that's been going on quite some time. We took input from the citizens and from the elected officials and everybody. And we also pulled information as we worked with ARC as we were going through the zoning update and pulled some of that information in to help us with this plan. But we did some other public hearings that were necessary for us before we did doing that.
So we held 3 public hearings, 3 here in Hampton.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we did, we did one over there. As we did.
We can go back and get the dates on what we have held, but what we are required to hold, as I said, the day after the annual meeting.
So we have met everything with the county.
Most definitely.
Thank you. Need a motion to approve or disapprove?
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve 1828.
Do I have a second?
I second.
Any more discussion? All in favor? All opposed? And I have a tie, my first time. And I'm gonna vote to approve. To approve comprehensive plan update and plan future land use map. Henry? Moving on, 1829, to approve pre-application authorizing for the Land and Water Conservation Fund. Stacy, is that true, Denise? Okay.
The grant opportunity has opened up for us to apply for $100,000 grant that will be budgeted for the next budget, 2019 and 2020 budget session. It would be a matching portion. We have to put in $100,000. Estimating the cost for phase 2, and this is the part behind behind the senior rec center. Estimated cost for the phase is $449,000, so it would be $100,000 if we award the grant to offset it. We will meet a lot of the criteria because we do have the points on the, wherever we have projects been approved, we have to complete environmental assessment. The grant is due to be submitted by October 31st. We have the project that worked out with the grant for 2020.
I need a motion to approve or disapprove.
I make a motion that we approve the pre-application authorizing the Land and Water Conservation Fund for the park over on East King Street, King Road.
King Road, yes. I'm sorry. It's like King Road, right behind the recreation and the senior center where we've already started Hampton Park, that's why.
No, it's called like East West right here.
It is West King, I'm sorry, I didn't bring my, I'm not my paper, my chair, I'm sorry.
For West King Road.
West King, thank you.
Mr. Mitchell, did you second that?
Okay.
Okay. Any more discussion? All in favor? Pass 6-0. Resolution 1830 to offer scholarship to the Henry County on Aging. Is this Mr. Tony, is this yours?
Actually, Mayor, as I was going through the check, I saw this particular one, and I pulled it out in light of the discussions and the policy from last time. And so I thought it best to bring it back before you for approval.
And what's that amount?
5,000. And this appears to be consistent with what has been done in times past. And I think they're trying to look for entities like our government to take early sponsorship so that they can leverage those sponsorships with others. And so I recommend approval.
Okay, thank you, sir. I have a motion to approve resolution 1830.
I'll make a motion to approve 1830.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Mr. Mayor, I wanted to say, this Council on Aging, this is a budgeted item, that we normally give every year, of $5,000 for Meals on Wheels. okay?
All in favor? Pass 6-0. Resolution 1831 to approve the 2018-2022 capital improvement element update. Stacy, that's yours?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. For this one, we have not received approval from the state to adopt at planning and zoning. And we typically receive a copy of a letter that would be addressed to the mayor. And so I want to make certain that the city has not received such a letter because I have not received a copy of it.
I have not received a copy of it.
So one of the things that the county attorney had mentioned regarding our previous item, and it's also true of this item, is that the city is required to adopt an approved capital improvement element update by October 31st. And this is the last regularly scheduled council meeting. So it's very likely that we may have to have a call meeting to adopt once we receive the approval. But the resolution before you tonight is adoption as approved by DCA, and right now we don't have DCA approval, so we recommend that this item be postponed.
Thank you, sir. City Manager?
An opinion I offer to you, if a letter has been sent, we could follow up to see if a letter exists. And could you not approve subject to me finding that letter?
Mr. Mayor, I would recommend that. I would think that would be a great solution. If the county attorney has no objection, that sounds like a solution.
You mean the city attorney?
Yes, sir, that's right. Thank you for catching that.
I was just doing a quick search to see, if we had any prohibitions, and I don't find any, and so, that suggestion by Mr. Coney could work. And so I would just ask that the motion, however, be worded in a way that is understood that this is only subject to the state approval, and green light.
Do I have a motion to approve or disapprove?
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve, subject to receiving a letter from the state.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor? Pass 6-0. Thank you, Steve. Okay, moving on, ordinance 462, amended chapter 2, administratively, article 7, code of ethics, section 2-313, penalty to allow for an expansion of penalties.
That would be me, Mr. Mayor. Yes, I asked that, when looking at our code of ethics with all of the things that we've been had going on in our city, I wanted to take a look at it and really see what it was, because we have to be held accountable here in the city. Each one of us have a duty that we need to do, and we have an ethics committee that is capable of holding us responsible for those things. And so I asked that the city attorney would take a look at our ordinance and add some things for me. And as you see, they did put some things that were not currently there. I did hear someone say jail time. As a part of when doing the research, what we found in the expansion of ethics policy, that if you do have severe ethics issues within your city, it may be needed that there is a penalty where someone, if they breach it, that they can spend some time in jail. So that is the reason you see this before you tonight.
Mr. Mayor, if I could just explain.
Yes, ma'am.
So, obviously, you know, we have, sister cities, whether they be in, our county or other places in the state that have ethics, boards or committees such as Hampton. The portion about the imprisonment I have found that it has occurred when there has been due process. An ethics violation has been determined by the board, by the committee, and there has been a penalty imposed, and that penalty has not been followed through with. So it's not, and respectfully, Ms. Tarpley, it's not for a violation of the ethics ordinance. If you have been found to be in violation, you don't follow up with whatever punishment has been imposed by, as a result of your violation, or you have provided perjured information to the ethics board, that your municipal court, not this board, makes a determination as to whether there should be stiffer penalties for not following up or for providing false or misleading information.
Would you give me a list, starting from the most severe, well, from the weakest to the strongest? Can you give me a list of those, please?
That may be subjective, depending on who may have to be subjected to any penalty, but the way it's listed in your ordinance is a private reprimand, a public reprimand, a fine not to exceed 1,000. And the 1,000 is because the municipal court and this city does not have jurisdiction beyond 1,000. A censure, a referral for training, a request for resignation, and probably referral for training probably is your least harsh. Recommendation for, did I say request for resignation, then recommendation for impeachment, and then a catch-all, any other punishment deemed just and appropriate. And that's to be determined by your ethics committee, and then a referral comes to this board for a final determination.
Do I have a motion to approve or disapprove?
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we approve ordinance 462.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor? All opposed? 1, 2, 3. Another time, I disapprove this ordinance.
Mayor, I know I spoke, but Ms. Cochran spoke, and I know the vote has been taken, but I don't believe you opened it up for discussion for the rest of your board members.
Let's open it up for discussion. Go ahead. Well, I have some decision. I want to talk about it. I think we have stopped people out in the community. If you're even thinking about running for office, do you really want to run if you know that maybe the ethics board that's appointed by the council, if you make 4 of those people mad, you're going to prison for a $1,000 fine. I'm totally against this ordinance.
I just want to say, the ethics board is an independent board. It has absolutely nothing to do with us. We appoint, they decide. We don't put any input in on what decisions they come up with. They send it back to us with their final recommendation. So it has nothing to do with whether or not you make 4 of us upset or mad or angry or anything like that. I totally reject that. I feel like that this right here is being put in place so that we can be held accountable for the actions that we are taking as your officials and your government. Things that we're not supposed to be doing, there is an accountability.
I believe we've taken a vote on it. Thank you. It failed. Ordinance number 463, amending chapter 2, administrative article 3, officer and employee, section 2-1, city of manager, to allow for amending subsection C, removal of the city manager. I asked for this to be put on, on the docket. I can't make a motion to approve or disapprove it, but I think this is something that needs to be in the future for any mayor that is besides me or any other mayor that comes into office. I need a motion to approve or disapprove.
I'll make the motion to approve.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Okay.
This amendment is not, there are many people think that, we intend to remove a city manager. That's not intended. But when I look over for me, there's the opportunity, when I look over the law, and by reading over it, I see many things need to be addressed, like the charter and other laws. So this opportunity came up, so that we can fix these things in the future. That anything that we need to make sure that the law applies to all.
Any more discussion?
So the thing I have to say about this is, we have a form of government that is council, city manager form of government. If you read the ordinance for this particular chapter in this section, in the first letter, I believe it's letter B, it gives the mayor the opportunity to be able to get rid of someone as long as they come to the council and get 4 of us to write and say, fine, if you want to get rid of it. The reason there was a block on the mayor was because the mayor was doing inappropriate things. It just depends on if they liked them or not. If they didn't have to have any justifiable means, and they could be the tiebreaker in the midst of this. So that is the reason that I'm looking at this and saying it fits. It requires 4 council members to be the ones that make that decision in letter B, just like it should in letter C.
Go ahead, Mr.
I'll
Brown.
comment, Mr. Mayor. You know, when this came up last month, I asked you for a reason for this, and your response to me was because you don't trust.
We're not talking personally, this is for future reference, Mr. Brown.
I understand, however, Mr. Mayor, in light of what has transpired here recently, I don't think that this is appropriate. I think that there is underlying reasons for this ordinance.
Thank you, sir. Any more discussion? I have a motion to approve, Henry, a second by Stephanie. All in favor? All opposed? Mayor gets a break when I approve the ordinance. Ordinance number 464, amending chapter 2, article 3, officers and employees, section 2-120, city manager to allow for amending to subsection D, 14, powers and duties of the city manager. Mr. Mitchell?
Mr. Mayor, the reason why I put this on the agenda is not, for one reason. When I went to training many times, I noticed that we have Georgia, party recommend this setup right here. From voters, elected, and mayor, and council, city clerk, city council, and city attorney, and the rest part. These are one of the reasons why I decided to do that, because if you look at the policy that, the duty of a city clerk is to communicate effectively with the council. And if we go at this time, speak to the council, we're in violation of that policy. That's it right now. I'm speaking to any director of the policy. But second that, that's the only way that Georgia recommended. That's it.
Mr. Mayor.
Do you want to put that in the form of motion so we can discuss?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the ordinance.
Do I have a second? Okay. Mr. Brown?
When I saw this on the agenda, Mr. Mayor, because I sat in that class as well. However, this didn't come from the class, it came from the handbook for mayors and council members. and I spoke to the author of this document, and he explained to myself and Ms. Harper, I believe was there, that this is just an example. He also sent me an email, sent us an email that shows that there are 136 cities in the state that have this form of government, and many of them do not follow this particular format. This format is just an example for the book, and as a matter of fact, he's in the process of modifying that book as we speak. So I don't feel that this is a valid reason for wanting to change the format and the structure of our city government and the reporting of our personnel.
Mr. Turner, speak into your mic, please.
I'm going to ask the lawyer to, and then, can you clarify that a little bit? What's going on?
Well, while we're waiting for them to put it back up, let me also say that, there was an article in the Henry Herald about the interpretation of this ordinance, and I think it needs to be made clear that regardless of what this says, when Mr. Mitchell asked for me to write the ordinance amendment, it was not to take away the city manager's ability to supervise directors and the employees of those directors. So I've spoke with Mr. Agee, who's here tonight, to make that clear, that that was not what Mr. Mitchell requested. I think when you look at the phrase that's surrounded by commas, it can lend to that confusion, but that was not what Mr. Mitchell asked me to write. So to explain this is a form of government. There are multiple forms of government. This happens to be one of the one that you have. I have seen this happen, to Mr. Brown's point, a number of different ways. I've seen it where it happens just like this, and that the city clerk reports directly to mayor and council. I've seen it happen just like this, but the city clerk reports to the city manager for administrative things. Obviously, your role is part-time. You're not here every day to ensure that the city clerk is here doing his or her job, or we have a her now, where Ms. Brooks is here. And so for administrative purposes, I've seen where the city clerk reports to the city manager for time off and other admin duties that the city clerk has as the record custodian of our city. And so the option is yours. You're not changing your form of government. I think that was one of the concerns. You're not changing your form of government to make it a strong mayor type of form of government like Fairburn or the city of Atlanta. What this is considering is whether or not you want to change who the city clerk reports to. It's simply what this is about.
And Ms. Mayor, my concern is that this is an attempt to interfere in administrative business of the city, or a way in to interfere with the administration of the city. And that's my concern.
Go ahead, Andy.
I just want to say in regards to this, first, the thing about it, the clerk is the record keeper. She's not the person that you garner information from anyway. We should be asking our city manager, that is what our charter says, that he is the overseer, the administrator of the city. So when looking at this, we just did a ordinance to adopt a organizational chart because we were having issues with the clerk believing that they were on the same level as the city manager. Now we're saying we're gonna go back to that type of thing all over again when we have made the decision that we wanted the clerk to be under the city manager so that we can get our information from him and he could direct everybody underneath it. So I'm trying to figure out why would we want to put the clerk back on the same level as the city manager?
Any more discussion? All in favor? All opposed? I'm gonna pass the ordinance. Ordinance number 465, amending chapter 2, administrative article 3, officer and employee, section 2-120, city manager to allow for an amended up to subsection D, 17, powers and duties of city manager to allow for a temporary suspension of city manager spending until adoption of the fiscal year 2019 budget. Henry, is this yours?
Yeah. I had contacted Ms. Regan and asked her about this. The only thing that I was trying to accomplish at that point was until we know what we have, how much money we've got, what the budget's gonna be, that we stop any spending outside of the normal day-to-day type operations of the city. Now, from what I understand, what she understood when I talked to her, is this would be the way to do it. Now, I don't care how it's done, if it's an ordinance or if it's just a resolution or something saying to stop until we have some information that we don't have. We don't know anything about where we're at, hadn't known anything for months. As far as financially, don't know what happened last year, we haven't had any reports, and we don't know, we don't have a budget now, haven't seen anything even resembling a budget. And I just wanted to do this just to stop that until we get our stuff together and the council knows what's going on.
And Mr. Mayor, I just want to address Mr. Byrd. You realize this is his day-to-day spending. What, under 2-120D17, the $2,000 is his day-to-day spending.
Henry, you want to put that into a motion to approve or disapprove?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Do I have a second? You second, okay. Any more discussion? Mr. Mitchell?
What is the policy when there's no budget?
Is that for me? That you do a month to month based on the previous, fiscal year.
There's no,
There's not like a penalty, you just operate month to month until you pass one.
But aren't we operating under the 2018 budget?
you are.
No, Mr. Mayor, we just covered this in our finance request, and, you know, it is not uncommon to request a 30-day extension for a budget submission. The only caveat to that is you can't do it 2 years consecutively.
Any more discussion?
The other thing I would just want to bring your attention to, this is an ordinance, and so it would not be effective tonight. This will require a second read.
Right.
And then for you to reverse, this, if you do pass it, is gonna require 2 additional reads.
So is this the only way that we can do the word that the spending is on the budget that we have now, the old budget, without doing the ordinance?
This is the only place in your charter and code that gives the city manager spending ability.
So what I'm understanding is that, this ordinance is gonna tie the city manager from doing his day-to-day, if he needs to spend money.
Currently, if he wants to spend anything under $2,000, it does not require approval from this board first. He is required to tell you about it, but he does not require to get your approval. Anything over 2,000 requires your approval. And so the passage of this would be, any amount would require approval.
Okay, so the answer to my question is yes.
Any more discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Failed, 4-2. Number ordinance to amend and adopt the zoning map of the city of Hampton pursuant to the future land use map to provide for repeal and completion ordinance and map. Stacy?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. item was brought before you as the final step of the city's adoption of a brand-new zoning code, and that would include the official zoning map. And so, the zoning map had been adopted at the previous meeting, and I believe that was August 14th. And it was understood at that time that once the comp plan was adopted with the new future land use map, that then the city would adopt the final version of the official zoning map, and that's exactly what this item intends to do. That being said, the planning and zoning department didn't put this map together, and so I'm not going to be able to answer particular questions about it. But I would state, like our previous planning and zoning items, that this is advertised for a public hearing, and so we would request that you open it up to public comment.
And this is done by TSW, the contractor that you hired to do the zoning.
Thank you. And just for interest's sake, what Denise has told me is that this final version of the official zoning map is the same version that has been presented in the past. There is no change.
Open up for public comment for 6 minutes. Are you for or against?
I don't know.
I have a question. Is the map that is in this final ordinance, which map is it? Is it the map that was in the package last time? Or is it the map that was stuck down here on the floor against this wall, and the guy from TSW said, well, it's not this map, it's this map over here on the floor. So I'm just curious whether it's the map that was actually in the package and was considered last time, and everybody thought was passed, or is it the map that was down there on the floor that nobody got up to look at? And I'm against it.
Thank you, sir.
Michael Walpole, 71 Federal Rock Road. My main concern is the difference between the county land use and the existing zoning map. At the last public hearing, it seemed pretty clear to me that there was an intent to revisit the zoning map once the county plan was approved and processed and in our hands. I would like clarification as to whether that is still the issue, or the adoption tonight of the September 21st map that was included in the agenda package, if that is going to remain now for the foreseeable future, or are we almost immediately going to pursue further changes to our city zoning?
Any more comments? Ms. Oliver?
Yes, sir. I'm either for or against it, because like so many have said, I don't know what it's all about. First of all, I feel that there has not been enough public input, citizen input into this. Yes, we had those meetings, and as Denise said, there were not many people in attendance. So you really don't have a good sampling of the community involvement in this. It's just a very few people. And I'm wondering, who's driving this schedule in terms of when are the meetings to be held and the times and the dates? Is it ARC that's giving the direction as to when we must have these meetings? Because some of the meetings were held in times when the weather was bad, the time of year was not good for a good many people to be present, as well as information. I've been saying this ever since I've been here. Information does not flow well in Hampton. It's like, y'all thrive on keeping secrets from the public. And you do things, the appearance is that if you do not take the time to adequately inform the public, the citizens, then you're just putting together a dog pony show to say that you did something and nobody was interested because nobody showed up. I think more time and effort needs to be put into getting the public out and informing them and looking at what is good for the majority of the people who have an interest in it. And many people who have an interest were not at some of those meetings. And I don't know their reasons, but I know that one or two I missed because of the short notice and the timing.
Thank you. Ms. Wiggins, I want to ask you a question. Have we met all the expectation by the law? Have we done everything by the law?
So, again, Henry County serves as our planning and zoning, and so they are the ones that do the advertisements and make sure that it's just as if they were here as a department of the city. And so, I say yes because I know Mr. Jordan has always been on top of things, and during our zoning rewrite, where I had more input, because we were working with the CSW folks, it has always gone over legally. I don't think this time is any different.
Stacy, back over to you. Let's close the public comment.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I appreciate that. That's a comment that I appreciate. Our future land use map, which was a previous item, is required by the state to be updated every 5 years. There is no similar requirement to update your zoning code. The previous zoning code for the city, it was based upon a code that was written back in 1986. And I believe that there was a major amendment back in 2002, but that's still before my time. So I say all that to say that it's very good that Denise was able to write a grant to get funding to have a complete overhaul of the zoning code, and we appreciate that. That was hard work, and I thank you very much for doing that. We, as planning and zoning, were at the table. As the department that serves as the city's planning and zoning department, TSW included us, and we appreciated that. We were able to give input. We did advertise these items to meet the state's zoning procedures law, which was the requirement that the city has regarding zoning matters, including conditional uses and variances and rezonings and ordinance amendments and the official zoning map and so forth. So we've been very diligent to do that, and those requirements have been met.
Thank you, sir. Do I have a motion to approve or disapprove?
I make a motion that we approve, ordinance 466.
Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Turner. Any more discussion? Henry?
Yeah, I would just like to ask that we have one more meeting between this reading and the next reading to give people an opportunity to come and talk about it. Because I went to the meetings and sometimes there's only 4 or 5 people. So, but I'd like to give them another opportunity, which would be the second reading, would be another month, and maybe we can schedule another meeting in a couple weeks.
Okay, Stacy, could we hold another meeting between now and then?
Is there a cutoff for using that, for a cutoff date for doing that?
That's what I'm addressing.
So the question I heard, is there a cutoff date? So for the comp plan, the cutoff date was October 31st. There is no cutoff date for our zoning map, just to be quite frank. So it's my understanding that this is the first reading, this is the public hearing for this ordinance to adopt this official zoning map. And between now and the second reading, which would not require a public hearing, it sounds reasonable to have a public meeting just to gather input. And if that's something that the city would want to do, then we can work together and make that happen.
And Mayor, I do believe you have a town hall coming up. If you want to advertise that as a public hearing,
you could do it that way, because I know that's already on the books, but you can, not required to have another meeting.
So Mr. Mayor, can we restate that, motion to?
Yes, that's what I'm trying to get her to do.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to restate my motion. I would like to make a motion that we approve ordinance 466 with a recommendation to have another public meeting in between the second reading, before the second meeting. Reading, sorry.
Okay, you want me to assign a date to this? Okay, it'll be October the 29th at 6 p.m.
Where?
It'll be right here in the city chambers, right here. Mr. Tony, can you make that meeting, and Ms. Wiggins?
I'm checking.
That would be the town hall meeting. Also, while everybody's discussing, we've got a hurricane off the Florida coast, and Thursday night is supposed to be right here in the middle of Georgia. I've canceled the meeting for October the 11th due to the fact we have a problem with trees falling, electricity staying on. So, and the safety of the citizens, I want to make sure everybody's home with their family. So we were rescheduled, if it's okay with Mr. Coney and my city attorney, for the 29th at 6 o'clock here in the chambers.
Mr. Mayor, you doing the public hearing that was just a part of that vote at that time as well?
Yes.
Public hearing and town hall.
It sounds like, Mr. Brown, that the mayor is canceling October 11th for your town hall because of the storm, resetting that to the 29th, and adding to that another opportunity for the public to have input before the second read of your zoning map.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor? Pass 6-0. Thank you. Ordinance number 467, budget amendment for renovating at the train depot. Denise?
We're asking for $10,000 to do roof maintenance, just standard maintenance. It is a metal roof. It has practically another 30 years worth of life in it. Every 3 to 5 years, you have to do some maintenance on the roof. And this would be part because we're in between budgets right now, that we do need to spend some money on that. It's just standard maintenance. And so we recommended that talk down about what we're adding that to the budget every 3 to 5 years, so probably every 4 years, we'll be looking at $8,000 to $10,000 repair bill from Mr. Hearn, so I'm trying to get an assumption for us, so we still have a lot of life left in it. The other item is to, because of the fact that we're working with building by ourselves, a lot of times there's just one person in there, it just put a security key entrance on there where it's about where the doors will remain locked, the new doors that we have won't have them locked, and they'll have cameras on them. I estimated $3,000 was requested price, and I don't have cost on it. I don't anticipate it to exceed that cost. But then that way we can keep it at the door and push buttons to allow them entering the building and not keep a worker safe, because many times when they're alone, or sometimes there's 2 people in there, and they work a lot of times in the evening, and that is a safety feature. It's asked for approximately $20,000 to add different equipment to the kitchen area. With the new renovations that have been done, we will be bringing, it will be coming for the council to evaluate the rental rate. And the building, commercial refrigerator would be a much added, very nice amenity to have in there, a double commercial refrigerator and a warming oven. That would be very nice because we have just a regular oven in there, and when you have large groups in there, it's not sufficient. And the other item that we need is a microwave standard. When the kitchen was renovated, the microwave where it was up over the hood where the statues were taken out and the vent hood has been put in to exhaust the building so that it doesn't have a odor dump in there. All these items were just what time have estimated cost, and if there's any wiring or anything that would have to be done, but I'll put that in there. But I looked at the time that we would go, and we would, of course, get proper bids and pricing on it. And
you have to wait from the Gordian to do the roof maintenance. And that is something we do not want to put off. The new roof installation that was just put up there on Valley Terrace, and they did some patching on the interior around the skylights. There are some other areas that water is coming in through that, and it's going on the installation, and it does run down that foam installation. That is not a water barrier. And we didn't realize how bad that was, and that it, until they took off the inside.
So what it is you're saying is we still have a water leak in the roof?
And that's just standard maintenance for the metal roof.
Go ahead, let's get a motion in a second.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion for order 647, budget amendment for renovation for a train depot.
Do I have a second? Again, do I have a second?
I'll second for sake of discussion.
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead, Mr. Turner.
You gonna do, you said $10,000?
The price on the roof was approximately, right, a little over $8,500. But I just want to make sure that we have enough to, should anything else happen when they're up there working on it, around the skylights. One of them was cracked, they did do a repair to that. But that is just standard maintenance to a metal roof.
So you wanna amend are you on budget now? You wanna amend the budget to do that, is that what you say?
Yes, sir, we had budget, it would be in the next year's budget cycle. I think that's just Mike, I don't know who's Mike it is. It would be in the next year's budget cycle to go ahead and repair that, to do the regular maintenance on it. I did request $10,000 in it for next year. But as we're in between budgets right now, we need to go ahead and do this repair, this regular maintenance to the building.
Go ahead, Mr. Mitchell.
Denise, it was a pleasure working with you over train depot, and I see the news, and I mentioned to you, I don't like spend money. Last time I spoke to you, said, how much money do we need to get it completed?
Right.
And you show me the needs and the leakage, that would cost more money to the city.
We were, at the time that the roof was quoted for that spray foam up the installation, we told that would be a water barrier. And we found out it's not a water barrier.
In addition to that, when a leak happens, we have wood floor, and cost repair that is not more than we're going to spend now to repair. And that's a possibility as well. And if anyone takes a look over there, see the wonderful place has been done. We will spend the money to make sure that it's kept accordingly.
We thought that spraying foam would be a water barrier, and that was bad information that we were getting.
So I guess that's really what my issue is. I was under the impression the last time this project came up, that we had the final numbers for doing what we wanted to do, and it was going to be taken care of. That we weren't gonna have no leaks, it had a ceiling and all this wonderful stuff. Now you're saying that that is not the case. The project manager on this is Gordy. And I'm assuming he's been dealing with you.
We've had several project managers.
Gordian is the project manager, but Johnson and Luck is the contractor that they send to do work.
And we've been dealing with a lot. We had several project managers who got Johnson and Luck, and our first one told us that this would be a water barrier, and it would repair the leak. And then
I mean, we're almost in between a rock and a hard place, because we made this investment at the train depot with this foam installation, and now we have a leak. And if we don't get it repaired, it's gonna ruin everything that we've done.
And we were told that that would be a water barrier, and it would stop any leak.
So how do we know this is going to get it fixed? Who?
We've done repairs to the roof, standard maintenance to the metal roof, what we're requesting for, and that should be done, like I said, every 3 to 5 years. It hasn't been done in 8, 10 years, I cannot remember the last time it was done, 8 to 10 years, with standard maintenance. maintenance, they go up and they seal it around all around it, and they put the coating over it.
Now, on my last printout from this contractor, this one, they had a joint polyurethane filling and caulking on it. So I wanna know why I gotta pay for it again? So, can we, like, can we get, Gordian down here and have them, cause I need to know if we need to put in an insurance claim against a bond or whatever, because obvious they're not serving us properly. Something is going on with this train depot. We're supposed to be finished with it, it's just dragging on and on and on and on. The work is not being certified, and I'm trying to figure out, we can't keep dishing out money for this train depot. And I was a chief advocate for it. I was the number one advocate to get it done.
See, when these people finish the work, did you have anyone to come in and check and see? You said you was told it was supposed to make the hand something fixed. And then, did you just pay them and let them go away without having to check to see whether they finished with what they had
We
said?
have not signed off, we have not closed out the final work order on this, nor have we released payment on the work that has been done at this point in time, because there's some other items we are working over with them.
So you haven't paid them for that work?
We have been in contact with them about the spray foam, and we were given wrong information, we were told that it would be a water barrier. Their new project manager, when he came on, said it would not be a raised barrier, and at that point, we brought it, and we've been discussing it at some point.
So they haven't been paid for it?
At this point, they have not been paid for the final payments on the depot.
Okay, but they say it's finished.
No, it is not finished, they have some stuff that is still, we're working through some issues.
Okay,
I don't see why we shouldn't have another contractor come and talk about doing the fixing repair now, when we haven't finished with the ones who already was involved.
They have been, the work that they're working on is what's on the interior, the exterior of the roof of it. Because it was so, we were told it would be a water barrier saver, a waterproof.
I understand that part, but when they're supposed to finish with that section, and, if any inspector comes in here and can verify what they were telling you.
If I may interject here, let me bring you up to speed with some disclosures. As we heard from the contractors that they will finish the work, we have subsequently learned that no inspections were being done, and that that just has been a traditional way of doing business with government property. Subsequently, we have met with Henry County, and we have gotten all the inspectors to come over here, including the fire, because this is considered commercial, and therefore it's not under our local jurisdiction. It is our relationship with them that is going to assist us in getting it inspected and therefore determining what the additional items are. I did speak with Denise and said we will not pay until we get this resolved, because I do see some matters involving interpretation of what was told, performance, good faith. There are a lot of things here that need to be hashed out relative to this particular contract. In defense of what she was saying, early on, a decision was made not to put a new roof on. A decision was made not to deal with the roof externally, but to deal with the roof internally. Right, wrong, indifferent, that was the decision of this council and the direction that was given, and I do believe that was PC, what I call the Port Charles. We subsequently went into this and tried to figure out, could we get that to work? I had my same reservations with Denise, and I said to her, immediately keep your eyes on water, and if we see water, we got to go differently, because I always have been from a construction background where we deal with the roof externally, not internally. It was some faulted and bleeding that occurred, so we just got to get involved in this to see not only is it the roof, but what the other matters are And then I do believe we can go back to the contract and lack of performance with that contract and how we have not been, delivered. But relative to your question, the money, I stopped the check, so no money is going out.
Okay, but my concern is, are we gonna have someone that's come in and fix the problem and then deal with the people who's supposed to do it? So I'm trying to resolve it with them, have them to come back and direct it before we ask for the money to pay.
My first attempt would be to try to resolve it with the existing contract as we determine the promise that they made relative to the services that they provided. That is a management of the contract, that's contract management. And until you get to that level, first of all, you identify what all the problems are, and then you deal with the two parties who are involved in the contract to try to see if they can mitigate those problems. If they cannot mitigate those problems, then you go to the next level in determining external resources. I do think it's premature, but I did speak to Denise and ask her so that you were fully aware. What would it take to resolve this? And so we put before you a budget amendment. This is what it would take to resolve it. But it doesn't necessarily say that this is the route that we're going. We're still investigating what all is involved with it.
So you just want to ask for forgiveness in the state, in case you have to use it.
Exactly, we need to be positioned. There's rain coming through. There's a hurricane that's going to be here in 2 days, and rain is going to damage our beautiful building.
Well, you
Now,
won't have it fixed in 2 days.
we may not, but we could get it fixed before the next hurricane comes, because we're in hurricane season, and then we could use all our legal powers to go after people for not acting in good faith.
Okay, I want to applaud, Councilman Turkey to brought up the situation to me, but double billing. And I'm very concerned about it. The last time I mentioned that, it was the same thing that I've seen on the paper bill. Most of the council know my situation is, you do bad, you get rid of you. That's it. And this is a bad. And I hope the council join forces me in getting rid of people. Because I will not keep spending money and being double billing the same thing. That's sensitive. So, I'm very upset. I said, consider, please. So, I'm very, very upset.
I have a question. What have we spent on this train depot thus far in renovation?
I think we had a budget of $138,000 we've already spent, is that correct?
I'm talking about all 3 phases. This is in the 3rd phase, right?
This one was $126,000, there's a 50-something thousand, I think we're about $130,000.
So here's my thing, I'm gonna need you to pull the Gordian contract. I need you to get what they have promised us and make sure that they deliver, because I'm not gonna pay them 2 times for the same thing. So if they've already received some money, I'm sure they did some draws in the past. If they've already received draws that cover this billing, they need to come and bill it. Point blank bottom line, we're not gonna give them any more money to do that, to cover that.
This is for the city manager. What I want to see by this week, all itemized job function comes here to each one. If they double bill me, I want my money back, it's city money back. If they don't want to do it, they can not do it. Because I want to see if there ain't feeling, and to me it is, when I say something to me.
Might I offer that you allow us to go through the inspection so we can have a full understanding of what the total, this is just one item that we're aware of, because the water has come through. A full inspection will give us a list of items, and our partners in Henry County are working to come back with that list. I believe it is very premature and emotional to jump on this rein until you have data in front of you that only we can provide based upon what we are receiving. We met with Henry County, and they have expedited, and we've met with the contractor, and they are jumping through hoops to try to rectify this situation. Yes, I feel your pain. I had it beforehand. I said it's too beautiful a building to be in the state that it's in. However, you can act emotionally tonight, or you can wait for me to give you data, and then you can have a better plan of court.
Mr. Manager, I'm not opposed with Karen. May not have clear. However, I want to make sure this doesn't happen again. Because it seems like when I say something, they say yes. And it's not done, then we come back to the drawing board again. When are we going to hold them accountable?
So do you recommend that, you're talking about $20,000 additional dollars for?
30.
30?
And then,
1,300 was for security systems, around the door, key entry, and for 20,000 for equipment for the kitchen area.
So 33,000.
Up to 20,000 for equipment for the kitchen, that was for the refrigerators, the warming oven, and the microwave fan, and I would want to see that, I mean, I want to see that, I know that would be at the high end, because they have wiring that is put in the commercial refrigerator.
Do you willing to accept at this time the equipment until we further investigate it?
We did put on the roof, the repair for the roof on hold and put the other, go ahead and put the other. Yeah, that would be great, because then we're going back into the building and looking at the office area, and then that would be good for safety purposes, that would be very good.
Got one more question about this. When is the building gonna be available for use?
Until all the inspections have been done, which is, we don't have a time until they do them. We have to then get the list and go back to the contractor. So we can't give you a time at this point.
Okay, so we don't need to do a budget amendment for kitchen stuff, because that can be in the budget. We don't need to do that. We don't have to do that. So the immediate need here is that roof.
With the roof and the security, the fire marshal and the building superintendent need to go back into the office area. So if we can put the security system on the door area, in the offices. If they give us permission to use that end of the building.
I have one simple question. Do we know where the leak's at?
They're on the skylight side of the lawn. And they did repair the
Can we
interior.
put blue tarping on that for a little while till, because this hurricane, it's gonna rain hard.
are we insured on the building? So, this is my recommendation to the council. Let's get, Mr. Coney and Denise an opportunity to consolidate all of these questions and find out some good answers and come back and brief us on what the situation is, because, it's out of control. We're on phase 3 of a renovation, and we dumped a bunch of money into it. There's still a punch-out list that needs to be completed. We haven't had any inspections. We don't have a CO. We haven't held the project manager accountable. We don't know if it's insured or not. I'm hoping it's insured, and I'm praying that this hurricane comes back through here and knock that roof off and we get a new roof. I mean, because that's the only thing that makes sense right now. Distract for a minute. That's the only thing that makes sense to me right now. I mean.
Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead, Mr. Mitchell.
Mr. Coney, are you willing to rescind my motion so you can put to your requirements?
We can wait. I just asked her to bring it to you because I knew that you needed to know. But also, as she has shared, some of these are improvements in the building as we try to get the building ready. We had no idea when we prepared this that we would still be a week plus into this, and we don't have the feedback from the inspections, it's going to work. We thought it was something simple. Inspection check, we can go in the building. That is not what we're finding. So we can wait, but we wanted you at least to have the information.
This is for also to the mayor, the mayor and council. Can we make a condition approval at this time? And if those recommendations fulfill the needs, you can go ahead and fix it.
So, Mr. Mayor, we're gonna have a special call,
That's the town hall meeting on the 29th. Unless y'all want to make it a special call meeting and open it up to the public.
Mr. Mayor, my concern, which I don't know all the Christmas schedule, are we gonna have it done for the Christmas stuff that you have coming up, or?
We're hoping to have it done within a couple of weeks. I mean, we're working with the contractor, we're working with the fire marshal and the building inspector. They do have to bring in some engineered plans to present to us. We do not have them yet, and then the fire marshal and the building inspector will review them and make sure everything is to plan to do that for measurement and adding to the floor plate. And we've got our engineer drawing. So we're hoping to get it within the next couple of weeks. Everything's not out for us.
Mr. Combs, can we just get a blue top and put on and, for the range, and then just wait till you come back with the information that we asked about.
And yes, I heard that recommendation. In fact, I'm making a note to find that Public Works Department, so that they can look into something immediately to rectify it if the water starts to run. So yes, we can wait, but I would ask that you allow us to get more information. Whether you approve it tonight for the first reading, there's an ordinance, it will have to go through another reading, and then you tie the time up. You could also approve it tonight, and hopefully by the second reading, we would have more data to give to you.
Mr. Conley, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Conley, do we have any blue top available?
Walmart's right now.
Large enough. So question is, we're gonna decide to spend money, a lot of money, pretty much $5,000 to $6,000 to cover that up. More than, it's waste of money. Cover that up.
If you would allow, I think that this city manager and this administration has been forthright in bringing new solutions. This is not the first problem or challenge that we've had since I've been here. We brought it back to you. We've shown our performance level to you. Please allow us to do that.
Ms. Mitchell, do you want to amend your motion?
I will rescind my motion for ordinance 467, with an amendment for renovation of the Twin Depot based on the recommendation that the
Do I have a second? Oh, you rescinded your motion?
Not an amendment, right? I don't know if I understood, reset. So there is no motion on the floor.
Oh, okay. That part, excuse me.
No motion on the floor.
Anybody want to make a motion to approve or disapprove?
If I believe I can handle that in my 2,000 a day budget that I currently have. So if you just allow me to investigate, if I need further, the mayor has emergency powers that he can get involved in, if that's okay with y'all.
So we're gonna just rescind everything, give you the authorization to get blue tarp on the building, and you come back with all the data.
And let's not understand we're talking blue tarp. Allow us to come up with the best solution, whatever that is determined to be.
Yes, thank you. Okay, moving on. Ordinance 468, conditional use permit at 230 Sandstone Drive.
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
Good evening.
The conditional use request before you this evening is to allow an accessory apartment at 230 Sandstone Drive, which is allowed with an approved conditional use for the city of Hampton. Per the applicant's letter of intent, the garage was built in 2005 with the house, including rough plumbing, sewer, electrical connections. However, the interior was never finished.
so it has been used as a garage. With that being said, staff took to the zoning advisory board a recommendation of approval, and the zoning advisory board recommended approval with no conditions. I'd be happy to take any questions you have, but I'd also like to add that this was also advertised as a public hearing, so if you could open up the floor for that, we would appreciate it.
Thank you. Open this up for public comments. Give you 6 minutes if you're for or against. Please come forward.
I'm rolling, I still haven't moved. I would request that a condition be put on the conditional use. Since this is a residential neighborhood, it's not a mixed-use neighborhood, that this accessory apartment only be occupied by family members and not as a rental unit in this area. I think it would be bad for the area if this would set a precedent as having external rental units not being occupied by family members. That's the purpose of it at this point, is to house a family member, but if that family member gets into different circumstances and move out, then to have it as a rental apartment in an area that's not zoned for that, then that, I would ask that condition be placed on the conditional use approval and approval. Thank you.
Any more comments?
Yes.
Yes, please come forward.
I'm sorry, I'm the occupant who occupied the apartment. My husband died
Can
of
you
a heart
address,
attack.
ma'am, you need to address the fear.
My husband died of a heart attack at age 41. I am now looking at making affordable, safe decisions for me. And thank God he did not have children. But my parents put out the offer, let's fill out the apartment. You live with us for 2, 5 years until you're ready to move on and remarry. As my late husband said, you better remarry. You're terrible by yourself. I just want to live in my parents' backyard. Never thought I'd say that. But basically, there's some days I come home and I cry for hours. And there's some days I forget for hours that my husband is gone. And this is all I'm asking. No one was going to be renting this apartment out, say I was married in 5 years and move on. My parents would still live there. And it would just be for one of my other 4 siblings, possibly at Christmas time, when we have 25 family members trying to use 2 baths. That's all I want to say. But I wish I didn't have to stand before you today, asking you to approve a housing solution for me to live with my parents because my husband died. I have the income, but I'm slowly looking at making safer and smarter decisions because my husband made big money at Delta Air. I went from making a lot of money, being in the top tax bracket that I did not like, to making nothing hardly. And I work at Atlanta Motor Speedway. I live in Hampton. I am really looking forward to the 5-minute commute. I'm not looking forward to moving on to a house I've never shared with my husband. This is all I want to say. This is not for rental. It was, my parents were kind enough to take in a child that they thought they got rid of years ago. And I just want the board and the council and the people in the community to know that I'm the person who wanted this, not a renter, not people who are looking to make money. I just want somebody to be there 10 steps away when I'm having a bad day and I need to just talk, or I don't feel like cooking dinner, and I just need to be in a house with people.
Thanks, ma'am.
Thank you.
On behalf of the mayor and the council, we give you our deepest sympathy on your loss, and just know that your family will be in our hearts.
I'm just jumping in front of Mark.
Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Dr. Tyler Jones, 1100 Marsh Court. I'm on the other side of this particular resident. When we look at the city of Hampton, we think of family. And all they're wanting to do is providing for the family. And I support that as the neighbor on one side. The other neighbor on the other side was here but because of the long agenda, they had to leave and they wanted to extend yet to report it.
Thank you, ma'am.
My name is Mark White, I'm the owner of this residence, and this whole purpose of this is to house her. From the exterior of the street, you never know if there was a living quarters there. So it's not like it's gonna be advertised. It will not be rented out when she moves. As she stated, when I have kids that live out of state with grandchildren, I have a place for them to stay. No rental. So just, we're asking for favor and, for her, so we can provide. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else wish to speak? If not, we'll close public comments at this time.
Mr. Mayor.
Just for the sake of efficiency, the next item on your agenda is for the variance for this same property, because the, garage, if allowed to be turned into an accessory apartment, doesn't meet the rear and side setbacks. And so if anyone wants to speak on that, maybe this is a good time to do so.
Anybody we'll open public comments back up for 6 minutes. Anybody want to speak for the approval or disapproval? If not, we'll close public comments at this time. I need a motion to approve or disapprove.
Mayor, Council, I make a motion to approve 468 and 469. The variance and, okay, 468, conditional use permit.
I have a second. Any more discussion? Henry?
Okay, so are we going to have a condition on it where there's family members only, or we going to, does that need to be in the ordinance?
Would need to be definitely in the motion and to put that condition. I don't believe that's a condition that was recommended by Henry County.
It wasn't, it actually is in the Hampton zoning code that this cannot be used for rental property, so it wouldn't be absolutely necessary to do that.
Any more discussion? All in favor? Pass 6-0. I need a motion on 469.
I'd like to make a motion for ordinance 469 variance for 230 Sandstone Drive.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Pass 6-0. Consideration of Hampton Downtown Development Authority Board Member Britt Evans. Denise?
Britt is currently serving as a chairperson for the Main Street Advisory Board, but the DDA has, requested that to serve on the Downtown Development Authority, and he has graciously accepted. He offered to be here this evening, but we had a long agenda. I told him I would stand up before him, but he just said he would be honored to serve on there. And for Main Street, we are asking that he would please remain on the Main Street Advisory Board through the end of the year. So to give us time to find somebody to replace him, to serve on both boards would not really be
And he's not here for the swearing in, so the next DDA meeting, I would come and swear him in. What's the date on that?
the last Tuesday of the month.
Last Tuesday, okay.
And Brett does meet the requirement, he has to live, be a business owner, live within the county. He doesn't reside within the city, but he does live within the county, so he doesn't know the state requirements.
Do I have a motion to approve or disapprove?
I'm so moved to approve.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor? Pass 6-0, and I'll be there to swear him in.
I'll have him now.
The Hampton Charter update discussion.
Mayor and Council, if we wanted to, discuss and open up for, to move forward to ask to the, or legislature to look at it as well. One of the reasons that I mentioned earlier that, when I first elected, I've been reading over the charter to get acquainted with it to make sure I am abide by the law. By doing so, I have found out that a lot of this stuff is an open-ended. And I'm telling you, it needs to be updated, and it's one of the reasons that I am support the, 463, ordinance 463, because it needs to be updated. And also there's other stuff that needs to be updated, like finance, or the one city, the finance of the city. And other stuff as well that the city that may, want to update as well, the board, the council recommendation to the, or the executive branch. And the other thing that we want to look at is to make sure that we abide by the law and strengthen our law that's under books to decide. So I'm open to, the city council will, approve, so we can go ahead and look at our charter so that we can speak to our executive branch.
Thank you. I have a question for our attorney. Anything we do on the charter has to be approved by the state legislator?
No, not everything,
That's okay, go ahead.
Just going back to Title 36, Chapter 35, Section 6, provides that you do have some home rule power. Depending on what subject matter Mr. Mitchell is speaking of, it determines how it needs to be done, whether it can be done via home rule or whether it can be done via the General Assembly. And so I'll just quickly read to you the items that you cannot do via home rule. And home rule simply means you have two reads here, you advertise, it's done locally. You cannot change your form of government. You can't change the procedure for election or appointment of you as the board. You cannot lengthen the time that you remain on the board or shorten that time for that matter. You cannot change what offenses are considered to be misdemeanors. You can't change the municipal court's authority, which is up to $1,000 and 6 months for municipal code violations. You cannot change your form of taxation. You cannot change the power of eminent domain. You cannot change the power of regulation over any business activities that's regulated by the Public Service Commission. You cannot change, I said that already, the jurisdiction of the court, and you cannot change the establishment and operations of an independent school system. Everything else can be done by home rule, so I would defer back to Mr. Mitchell on what subject matter.
Can I say something? I guess with his discussion and what I was thinking he was talking about, I want to know how we can get a review of the charter and the ordinance to make a match.
So I did provide for you at the request of Mr. Brown, your updated charter.
Right.
In talking with the city clerk today, it's my understanding that MuniCode only updates the plan we have with MuniCode, updates annually. And so, stuff that you see online may not be current because the update hadn't occurred yet. And so what you have now in all of your emails is your most recent charter that's on file with the state. And so that's the one we need to go by. To the extent that it is in conflict with the ordinance, it's just gonna require an extensive review, to compare, what needs to be changed, what needs to be updated. And so, at least have something to work from.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. How can we get that review? Is that something that the city manager would,
I think it probably would be a team effort, with myself and the clerk and the city manager. It would be great if we had someone with some historical perspective as well to assist, so.
I mean, because we often come across ordinance that's conflicting with their charter.
That's correct.
So, we need a cleanup, kind of like we did with this zoning, update that we just did.
And we have our state representative here, that could take whatever packet that we want to present, that our delegation could present for passing amendments to our charter. So there's a process that we can use.
What I want to do is, to review a charter, update necessary that conflicts with our ordinance to make sure that we abide by the rules. Because I look at the charter, one online was sent down to us from one Guinea court to the different. And we wonder why are we up in different charter? And it seems like there's contradiction going on here. So, I hope you can, approve it today so we can go ahead, take a look at the process. Doesn't mean we take a, we do a process to make sure we, fix these errors.
So, Mr. Mayor, can we just order, or ask our city manager if he will start the process with our, city attorney to start looking at our, or putting a package together of what it would cost us to get all of this done, so that it would, they would coincide with one another, the charter with the ordinance.
Is that what you're asking for, Mr. Mitchell?
That's a start.
Mr. Tony, will you direct on marking?
Yes, that can be added to the list.
Okay. Okay, moving on. Positive happening in our community. Mayor and City Council, start with Councilman Byrd.
I just wanted to, recognize that the Fall Festival, they honored Mr. and Miss Lowe as the new Mr. and Miss Hampton. And I just wanted to say that I appreciate all what they've done for the city over many years. Served on council, been on multiple boards, DDA. Mr. Lowe actually started the Yellow Power Festival, and he did that to get money to help the DDA be able to help the city. And that's why the Yellow Power Festival exists today. So I just wanted to recognize that.
Thank you. Mr. Mitchell?
The Mayor and Council, before I say something, I simply want to adjust. I was born in Jamaica. Our symbol is also many one people. That means every nation on earth is here. I never felt any prejudice nor racial slur in Jamaica. So, I live in Hampton. Hampton is a great place and a great place to be. I met many wonderful people in Hampton, and I'm pleased to be in Hampton.
Ms. Barkley, please. Thank you.
Okay, so, so, this past Friday night, I had the opportunity of staying at the City Hall until about 1:45 in the morning. It was a great night, not really, but, I want to give accolades to our city manager for working so hard. Our deputy clerk couldn't come in on Friday, so, putting the package for the agenda together was, it was a tedious process on Friday night. And I watched it, I just happened to be witness to it while doing some youth council work. So that's one of the things I want to say to Mr. Coney. I do appreciate the work that you're putting in for the city, on behalf of the city, because 1:45, and I also need to thank Larry too, because we kind of called her kind of late on, Friday night. I had some youth council questions, and so, she obliged me as well, so thank you guys for working so hard. I also want to mention the youth council at Japan Fest. We had a wonderful time. We took 37 students to the Cobb Infinite Energy Center. Gwinnett. Don't want to mix it up. It was 37 students at the high school. Mr. Gore has, when I say you guys need to give Mr. Gore some accolades, because that man he is working hard for his students and to push them further. We asked him to try to gather those students. Mr. Coney had 50 free tickets that have been provided for the students. And we took 37 students and some volunteers up. Not only did our students get a chance to participate in this event and get a chance to be introduced to a new culture and eat everything that they had up there, and play all of the anime or whatever they call it, games that they have. And I got a new komodo and just tried to embrace the culture, but they also volunteered, guys. They didn't go back up, they didn't go there to get something, they went up there to give something. And that's the biggest thing with our citizens here in Hampton, is that we are about giving. We want to give, and I look at those young people and I say, oh, these are our future generation leaders, and I was so proud of them at the event. So thank you, guys.
I want to commend Ken on a youth council, bringing young people into the arena and trying to guide them in the right direction. Some of the things that we see that I don't want them to see, and I hope we get past that. We can teach them better and teach them how to get along with each other and not see each other as enemies. That's all I like to say.
Ms. Modi?
Mine's actually at Hampton High School also. Last week, the Hampton girls softball team won the very first regions tournament, and so they're actually hosting the state tonight. They won their first game at 5 o'clock tonight. Right now, they're winning the second game 22-0, and they should play next Thursday again. So the high school is 5 years old, I think, this year, and this is the first regional tournament they've won in any sport.
I have two things, Mr. Mayor. First of all, Mrs. King is back home. We had her house completed a couple weeks, 2 weekends ago. As mentioned earlier, she's very pleased and overjoyed with what she had come home to. Now she can start grieving the loss of her husband, so I'm very thankful about that. The other thing that I wanted to piggyback off of what Councilwoman Tarpley mentioned was our youth council. The children that we took to Japan Fest aren't your average children. They were young adults. They did everything that they were asked to. You didn't have to run them down and try to find them. It was an outstanding opportunity for them, but I was very proud of them as being our product from Hampton going up and representing us properly. I had no issues with them. They got their volunteer hours. They were happy to do it. They were well received and received a lot of accolades from the people that were running that festival. So I'm very proud of the students that we have on our youth council. I'm very proud of the products that Hampton High School are putting out as a whole. But more than anything, I'm very proud that Mr. Coney has brought a lot of his knowledge and expertise and experience with the AIS, and helped us develop a very solid, responsible, respectable youth council. They're quickly making their way out there via the social media. They're hitting some very high marks. They've been recognized quite a bit, not only locally, but now internationally. And I'd like for us to all just take a big look at the product that we're putting out, and they're our future. And we need to raise them right, and I'm very proud of the start that we have this year in our rural year.
Thank you, sir. And I'll wrap this up is that I'm thankful for everybody that was in the audience tonight. We were packed. I'd love to see this council meeting packed every time like this. And thank y'all for being here tonight and staying through this. And also on the way home, get a loaf of bread and a gallon of milk because it's going to rain. Have a great evening. Need a motion to go into executive session?
Make a motion that we adjourn the executive session for the purpose of personnel, litigation, and real estate.
Do I have a second? All in favor? We're in executive session.
Oh, okay, then, hey, we can roll with that, I can.
Can I get a picture?
Dedication, boy, dedication. What you get paid with? Be loved.
I need a motion to come out of executive session. Second. I need a motion to adjourn. Let's vote on coming out of executive session. I need a motion to adjourn.
Somebody needs to make it.
Did you say?
No.
You sleepy?
No, you're not sleepy. I need a motion to adjourn.
I'll say that.
Come on,
All in favor?